Violation of any federal, state, or local laws is prohibited. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 and monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM and HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station and the home of the Golden State Warriors and Valkyries. Always live on the free Odyssey app and now coming to you live from the Laughing Monk Studios. Live from downtown San Francisco, this is 95.7 The Game.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome in on a gorgeous Saturday here in San Francisco and in the Bay Area. Not so pretty for those Gigante fans and or the Giants. I don't know, we ready to just play taps and end this thing? Alongside my man, Sam Lubman, this is Dan Avone. We got you from 9 till 12 o'clock. We'll get into the Giants, although not too heavily. Not much to see here. And then we're going to talk a little Jonathan Kaminga. What does that mean? It means that the NBA is right around the corner and Jonathan Kaminga is still not under contract. And, of course, the San Francisco 49ers tomorrow will kick off at home for the first time this year when they take on the Arizona Cardinals, 2-0 undefeated teams. Something has to give in Week 3. We'll break down Brock Purdy, will he or will he not go, your thoughts on Mac Jones. But first things first, Sam, the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. Are we ready now to officially say night-night to San Francisco?
Oh, well, first off, hello there, Dan. The 95-7 The Game decision desk on Tuesday night called the chase for the Giants. That's when it ended, when they lost that second game of that series to the Diamondbacks. That's when the viable road that I tried to present to you last weekend, that was when that road officially went away. That road is much like the Bay Bridge on my way in this morning, absolutely jammed up and not a viable path. Rough, horrific traffic on the Bay Bridge this morning. If you're trying to get into the city this morning, just don't right now.
So the San Francisco Giants season basically, well, it's not officially over, but right now it's almost unsurmountable in trying to catch the New York Mets, who, as bad as it was going for the New York Mets, they have now straightened things out and played much better. At least they're winning games over the last couple of games. Mm-hmm. And the San Francisco Giants at the worst time, regress back to a team that couldn't hit again. And that to go along with the fact that the pitching is already suspect due to the injuries and the fact that they just don't have enough bodies. But this is the last time. And the one time of the campaign where you're like, oh, okay, we cannot go into a collective team slump, and that's what's taking place.
Yeah, again, the path was always tenuous to begin with, Dan. A lot needed to go right, but you can look at it two ways. It's the fact that they came up short, or it's the fact that they rallied enough to at least make this month interesting. I mean, Willard and Dibs had a funeral for this team on their show back in August. And then, much like The Undertaker, this team rose back to life and gave us something to cheer about in the month of September. You know, if it were not for this run, Dan, the Giants would have been beyond irrelevant for the entire month of September. And, you know, they injected themselves in the conversation a little bit. And I think in past years, this team probably folds in September. This team did not. That's a positive you can take away. And listen, I don't want to sit here and rattle off all the moral victories that the Giants had this year, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They're not going to make the playoffs. It's going to be a tough chance just for them to get above 500. They're stuck in the mid-sphere and just how 500 they are. I don't know if you saw, Stan, So there's this guy on Twitter. I know you're not on Twitter, so you probably didn't see it. There's a guy on Twitter. His name is Jay Kuda, and he tweets out just all the weirdest, most bizarre stats you'll ever find. And he unearthed a gem the other day, going back to like their last 300, 400, 500 games. The Giants are a 500 team.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, they are, as the kids say, pure mid. And that's just where it continues to be at. And at the end, but the positive is, we got to see Bryce Eldridge this week. He hasn't gotten a hit yet, but he's still up. That's good. And there's still a lot to be optimistic about for this team going forward. There's questions need to be answered. Left field is a question mark. Patrick Bailey at catcher, that's a question mark. The manager, that is a question mark. And in the next couple weeks, we will get answers to those questions. But, you know, they're not making the playoffs, but they're still trending in a positive direction.
Okay,
even ever so
I got to
slowly.
stop you right there. This team does not have a question, in my estimation, in left field. It's this kid. I'm sold on Cuckoo Gilbert, Drew Gilbert, and I like Luis Matos if that's the platoon. Bailey, I guess, maybe, you know, if you want the perfect world, he's out as your catcher. They need pitching. And pitching is so difficult to come by. Don't worry. Finally, Giants, and then we'll put a bow on this and move on. You finally
be that allergic to the Giants talk.
You finally have
Sound like Lucas.
a lineup 1 through 9. I don't want to hear anyone talk about, I don't know about left field or right field. Did you say right or left?
I said left field.
Oh, you're not in on Elliot Ramos?
I think he's not set in stone right now.
Wow, okay.
No, I'm all in on Drew Gilbert. I'm all in on Gilbert there. I'm keeping Jung-Hoo Lee around. Elliot Ramos, though, if there is if there's an option to upgrade over Ramos, I think you take that.
I just think Ramos has to improve defensively.
It's kind of why I think you got to look for the upgrade, yeah.
But I do think that he is so young, under team control. To me, he's ensconced as your left fielder.
See, I think that's what gives him trade value.
And why you talk to him the first thing you say to him is you need to work on your game. I don't know if you've done this in the past, but you need to get better defensively. Not when you come back to spring training. I'm talking the minute the season's over. And we'll see whether he takes that advice and improves his game from a defensive standpoint. But just focus on pitching, Giants. Just focus on getting somebody in the starting rotation. You got to address the bullpen. You need pitchers. Everybody in this league needs pitchers, and it's tough enough. So put all that focus on pitching and do not worry about any of the fine-tuning. I know, I guess Elliot Ramos, we can upgrade. No, all of that is fine. You can win with this team. You just need to be able to pitch, and that would be my main focus on the San Francisco Giants going into the offseason. Anything else you want to talk about the Giants, or we want to move on?
I mean, if you're going to talk about the pitching, I mean, obviously you need some of these young guys next year to step up. I think this is why you did keep Robbie Ray through the trade deadline. I know there was a lot of people calling for him to be traded, and the fact that he's faded down the stretch here, I think, kind of adds to this is why you should have traded him debate. But the reason the Giants held on to Robbie Ray at the deadline is because they believe that they can contend next year. When you look at the roster, that's absolutely understandable. They would believe that. And so that's why they kept Robbie Ray here. So going into next year, you got Webb, Ray, and Landon Roop locked in your rotation. Maybe Justin Verlander returns. I don't know what you're doing after that. You also need to rebuild your bullpen, but if there's one thing I'm trusting the Giants to do, it is build up their bullpen. It's tough to do it mid-season like they forced Bob Melvin to do, and all things considered, I think he handled it about as well as he could. So you got to upgrade your pitching there. Hopefully Hayden Birdsong can find the strike zone again. Hopefully Carson Whisenhunt can show some improvement. Hopefully Carson Seymour can stop giving up home runs. So, you got options there to go with. They're going to be in the free agent market a little bit. So the pieces are there. They got to add a little bit more. So it's not as bad as it was a year ago, which I think if you're not going to make the playoffs, Dan, I've always said, if your team is not going to make the playoffs, then the next best thing is you need to feel better about your team at the end of the year than you did at the beginning. And that's where I'm at right now. I do feel better about the Giants coming into this last week of the season. I feel better about their direction than I did in the first week of the season.
Well, when you think about this roller coaster of a ride and the ebb and flow that has been the 2025 season, the 11-4 start, and then obviously July and August happen, you get Rafi Devers, all of this with now Buster Posey, one of your all-time greats, pulling the strings, the president of baseball ops, and at the end of the day, you know where they're going to finish?
Same place.
just like that of Farhan over the last 5 years. At 500, maybe a couple of games underneath.
It's, but again, development's rarely ever linear, Dan. Listen, no one's going to come up. It's Buster's first year. I think he had a pretty solid year. The Tyler Rogers trade looks like an absolute home run, even more so if you re-sign him. Love the return they got for the Camilo Doval trade. Jesus Rodriguez, the word on him is very, very positive. We'll see him eventually. Moving off Mike Yastrzemski, that was heartbreaking as a fan. But Drew Gilbert is the reason why you move off of Mike Yastrzemski. So I like the first year that Buster. I forgot Rafi Devers, that trade. He looks like, I'll say this, Dan. I saw Devers walk by me in the clubhouse this last Friday, and he looks, I don't know if I mentioned this last weekend or not. He looks a lot slimmer than when he did when he first showed up. Like when he first showed up, that man was a series of large circles. And now when I look at him, it's like, wow, he is noticeably slimmer, at least 20 pounds lighter than when he arrived here back in June. He is getting to be in tremendous shape. If he's in good shape coming into next year with a full year in this ballpark where he's feeling comfortable with a swing that translates well, especially to left field, I think Rafi Devers going into his age 28 season next year is going to be primed for a very, very big year for this team.
I don't know. Some of those large, portly baseball players, sometimes they play better at that weight, you know? When I think of, like, going back in the day, Babe Ruth was, he's never going to get mistaken for Aaron Judge. All the baseball is always
that was a totally different era. I think that
there's been,
the comp I would go to more is Pablo Sandoval. There was a magic spot where, if he had just the right amount of portliness, he was good to go. But then if you add a little bit more, then it's, well, now you got to go run up the mountain in spring training. And that's where I was on Rafi Devers. A few months ago, I was ticketing him for Camp Panda next year. Now he might not need that. So, yes, there is a weight that, these, hefty guys are good to play at. And I think Rafi's down at that weight now.
I mean, he was pretty good in Boston at that playing weight, and he looked sort of portly playing in Boston. By the way, it is Fat Bear Week, speaking of getting skinny, for those of you that follow
Fat Bear Week.
Fat Bear Week, yeah, they're in hibernation. By the way, let's bring in the producers of Chaos.
Well, I need to know more about Fat Bear Week.
Yeah, so Fat Bear Week is when they hibernate, and so this happened, I want to say, somewhere in Canada.
So this is the week where where Yogi and Co. are getting together, they're having their big feasts, and they're stocking up for the winter.
Yeah, and so this year, because as I understand it, the salmon run, because this subculture with the bears is so reliant on the salmon.
Got to get the salmon.
Is pretty plentiful. And so there is some, it's not Kodiak, but there's some place in Canada where they have cameras that are all over this region of where this particular brown bear hangs out. And so people are able to identify these particular bears and will actually give them monikers. They actually have names. And you could see that at the beginning of whenever they start this feast, they actually will put in bets, or they'll have bets online as to who will become the fattest bear during Fat Bear Week, which is all, I guess relative
now I'm kind of interested.
I'm
going to have to look into this now. I feel like that could be content for the station this week. Maybe instead of playing fantasy football, we play fantasy bear watch.
Well, you guys are really reaching if that's where we're going these days.
How about them Cowboys?
I'd rather do that than the 16-team fantasy league that we're in right now. So
yeah, I'm not a fantasy guy. I live in the real world. Let's bring him up.
That's not much better right now.
My producers of Chaos. Say hello to, my man, Caddy Zach. Let's start with you. I always I always say that this is the best golfer at the station, but apparently I'm getting some chirps from Mr. Willard that apparently I don't know his handicap, but can you handle this guy?
Yeah, I think I can handle Willard. We still gotta hit the links together.
Yeah.
So I he's a lefty. They always tend to hit it really long, but they can't keep it in the fairway, so we shall see.
Pasta, my man,
look at that shot across the bow at Willard.
Well, I want to put you two together.
I know, honestly, now my first thought is we need to get a 95-7 the game golf tournament where we just get all the hosts who golf on the course together and just see what happens and the absolute chaos.
Let's bring your pops in just for color, because he talks a little bit your old man.
Oh, he'll talk. Yeah, that's why he doesn't come on the show. It's because how he talks. But
he talks up his game, so we need to see whether he can back it up. And let's bring him in as well.
He's down to do that.
Pasta, what's going on with you this? Pasta, by the way, we'll get all dente with you in case Mitch calls, which is I want to hear the impersonation once again. But how's the week, buddy?
The week's been pretty good. Speaking of golf, I'll stay on that topic. I went to Top Golf last Saturday, right after the show.
Okay.
So I embarrassed myself quite a bit. I had good food, good drinks, and
Oh wait, is Top Golf the place where you go? You have a beer at every hole?
no, that's not Top Golf. I don't know.
That's just called regular golf.
Yeah, I think that's just something people do. But Top Golf is a driving range. There's one in Burlingame. It's brand new.
Yeah. Top Golf.
And there you could hit it and look on the screen and play different arcade games and see how you do. So I've never actually golfed a real course. Top Golf is the extent of my golfing career.
The caddy Zach, he's sitting 3 feet to your right. Will you just please help this man out? Get him to a course.
Yeah, I can give him some tips, you know.
By the way,
I love that nickname, Caddy Zach. That's a great one.
So there's a place, in all seriousness, in San Francisco. I've been there. It is a mini golf course. It's a putt-putt golf. It's inside, and it's a bar. Now, please, somebody help me out on the text line. If
That's
you know
not
what it is
Urban
that I'm
Putt,
talking
is it?
about, it might be. What's Urban Putt?
I've
Is
never
it
been
Holy
there.
Moly?
Well,
Could be Holy Moly,
just
too.
throwing. I don't know. I mean, I'm just telling you that you play this. You play this mini golf, and they have so every hole is sort of a signature San Francisco sort of. It's the Golden Gate Bridge. Everything has a San Francisco sort of.
There's actually a place
theme.
like that in Alameda. What's it called? Subpar Golf out in Alameda. It's a great date spot. I've used it numerous times, and they have a lot of Oakland, Berkeley landmarks there, so you can putt over the Oakland Hills. They got a really cool Memorial Stadium model there. They do have the Golden Gate Bridge. They got the Santa Cruz Boardwalk. So I guess it's Bay Area monuments. But and yeah, you can get beer there and other food, and there's arcade games and stuff like that. So that's kind of been the in thing when it comes to mini. I'm a big mini golf guy.
Yeah, this is predominantly drinking, though. I want to say the emphasis is it's sort of a bar / little mini golf course.
I found it.
Ooh,
Holy Moly Golf Club on South Van Ness. It opens at 11 a.m.
What are we doing after the show today?
Holy Moly Golf Course on South Van Ness.
What do you think? Foursome at a Holy Moly Golf Course today, Dan? You in?
I cannot.
You going swimming today?
My days of drinking before noon are.
Well, we don't have to drink. We could just. We're off at noon, so we'll be good.
There's also one called Stagecoach Greens, which I have been to recently. It's across from Chase Center, near the food trucks.
So somebody's saying
that's the one I've seen a lot. Yeah,
Urban Golf. I think. Can you look up Urban? I think that's the one I'm referring to. Someone on the text line saying Urban Golf, and I think that's what I'm referencing. All right, let's get into San Francisco Giants. Anything else that you want to get into when it comes to the Giants?
The end of the Clayton Kershaw era was last night, and because again it was on Apple TV, no one really saw it. Which
they got to do away with that.
I gotta. You know what? I'm gonna take a page out of the great Dan Dibley's book and take one of his quotes. Major League Baseball, you stink. Like, what are we doing putting that game on Apple TV, a service that like 133 people in this country have for a game of that magnitude? Clayton Kershaw's final start, and you're not letting Giants and Dodger fans be able to watch it because the one guy in Wisconsin who has Apple TV, he gets to watch it. It's just put games that no one cares about on these streaming services because no one's going out of their way on a Friday night to flip on these streaming services and watch these games. It's an inconvenience enough that the NFL does it, but we'll inconvenience ourselves to the NFL, not for baseball.
But the majority of us, I don't know if it's the majority, at least you can access Amazon. I do not have Apple TV.
No.
I don't watch anything on Apple TV. I watch programming on Amazon. I watch programming on Netflix. And albeit I would rather watch a football game on a network, but I can go to Netflix or Amazon or one of the big streamers. But Apple TV is not an easy transition for me.
No, what I don't like about these streaming service games, Dan, is that Thursday Night Football is a perfect example. The Bills and Dolphins, they're doing battle on Amazon Prime. But if I want to switch back and watch Giants Dodgers, I have to exit out of Amazon Prime, scroll over to YouTube TV, bring up YouTube TV, scroll. Like, remember the days where you just had to hit last on your remote and you can go back to what you were just watching? Now I have to hit 5 different buttons, scroll through a bunch of pages, do a blood ritual to summon the channel-changing demon. It's ridiculous what TV watching makes us go through in order to watch sports. And so it's just, and here's the thing. It was Clayton Kershaw's last start, and I'm complaining about the TV product. Like, that's not good for the product for Major League Baseball.
Who was on the call last night? Does anybody know? Because I know their talent sucks.
Oh, really? Because I know Wayne Randazzo and Dontrell Willis usually do those games. I don't know if they if they were on the call for
That was
last
them.
night. It was them last night? Okay.
That was.
Yeah. Don Chola's a pretty cool guy, actually.
Yeah, he does games for, I want to say, he's the regular.
The Dodgers.
Yeah, okay.
I retract what I said about Don Chola. No, I do like D-Train a lot. I've had a chance to chat with him. He was one of those guys as a kid, everyone tried to do his delivery. He had the high leg kick and throwing the head back.
But so it used to be Katie Nolan and Hunter Pence. Do you remember that?
Hunter was on the radio call.
Yeah, Hunter's doing radio now with the Giants.
I don't know what Katie Nolan's doing.
And Katie, I was
crushing beer somewhere.
Well, it was so gimmicky. It was like, come on, what is this? It's bad enough that I got to go to Apple TV and now I'm watching like some carnival. Like, this is not.
You're not a Katie Nolan fan?
No, I mean, Katie Nolan, pick your lane. Katie Nolan is good for late night. To your point, go to a bar, have fun with sort of that Gen. I have a nephew now that's talking about Gen A. There's apparently a Gen A. Are anybody familiar with his age grouping?
I'm Gen Y. So
this younger demographic that there's people like Katie Nolan, I guess, resonate with. But for the baseball fan, Katie Nolan can't do play-by-play. Like, what are we thinking here?
I think she's more of an in-studio type.
No, she was doing a lot of sort of, I want to say, play-by-play back this is a couple of years back. Yeah. I mean, it was. So Apple TV, the only reason Apple TV gets an opportunity to broadcast baseball games, I'll tell you why. It's because of the money, right? The money speaks the loudest at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, they want you to kind of jump on Apple TV and like, oh, this is kind of cool. Maybe I'll spend money on this now. And it's like, no, I'm not falling for your dumb tricks, baseball and Apple TV. But yeah, congratulations on a great career, Clayton Kershaw. Finishes
that takes a lot for you to say.
No, as I said, he is the one Dodger I will always show my respect to. As I said, my hatred of him is matched only by my respect, and both of those things are very high. And maybe I want to do this maybe later on the show, Dan, just those rivals, those villains in sports that you came around to just eventually respect, because it's just, there comes a time where you just can't be a hater. You have to just admit that someone is good. And that was kind of Clayton Kershaw for me. He finishes with a career 2.10 ERA against the Giants, got roughed up in his last couple outings against him, but didn't take a loss, which is, that's very fitting. But yeah, congratulations on his great career. I know a lot of people will point at his postseason resume and say that that's a knock against him. I'll be honest, Dan, I think Clayton Kershaw's postseason resume is flawless. I think it's terrific. I love his postseason resume. I think it's the greatest postseason resume that any one pitcher has ever put together, the amount of times that he barfed on himself in October and kept the Dodgers out of the World Series. So yeah, I have no issues with his postseason resume there, but that said, as I drive by you on that one, congratulations, Clayton.
I have two questions for you. Will you ever get to that point in Shohei Ohtani's career?
Want to bet?
Where you can pay him? No, I'm asking you. Would you ever get to the point where at the end of his career, or maybe in a year or two, that you can pay a similar tribute to? Because I know you have a hard time with the young man right now.
No, that will be a cold day in hell when I actually give him that due there. That is... I will never. If that does happen, I need you to call me up and say, "Hey, I need you to remember your roots and back off that one."
And here's my second question, a follow-up that I always enjoy asking Giant fans, and you personify the quintessential San Francisco Giant fan. If Barry Bonds played for the Los Angeles Dodgers, how much would you vilify and hate that man, or would you not? Would you be in denial?
I'll say this: the way that I watch Shohei Ohtani, I imagine that's how Dodger fans watched Barry Bonds, where it's just like you hate him. And part of the reason why I hate him even more is that this dude is going to have one of the greatest careers in baseball history, Shohei Ohtani, and I'm not going to be able to enjoy it because he's a Dodger. And Barry Bonds had one of the greatest careers that a hitter ever had. But because he was a Giant, there are Dodger fans out there who just could never be able to enjoy it. So I assume that, yeah, that's how, if Barry was a Dodger, he would probably be persona non grata up here in the Bay Area. It's not what happened, thankfully. They get Shohei instead. Yeah, I imagine it's the emotions I am feeling right now towards Shohei Ohtani. I'm sure that there is a Dodger fan out there feeling that exact same way in 2002.
But would you hate him not because he's such a good baseball player, but because...
That's the Dodgerness.
Well, no, because of all the Balco and the cheating, because that... Barry Bonds is the quintessential, if he plays on your team, you'll love him. If he plays anywhere else, he is the ultimate cheater. He's a guy who did roids before anybody else. Would it cross over into that area that he is a cheater that should never get into the Hall of Fame? Or is it just one of those where you're like, yeah, I'm a Dodger fan and I hate him because he's a good baseball player? would it carry into I hate him because he's a cheater?
I think
which really gets crystallized when he plays for another team.
It would. I think it's a layered thing there. You hate him because he's a dot. You hate him because he's on your rival team. You hate him because he's good, and then you hate him because of the Balco thing. So it's just you keep stacking these layers. Like Shohei, you hate him that he's on the Dodgers. You hate him that he's good in playing for the Dodgers. You hate him because he's betting on baseball games and Major League Baseball's paying the FBI off to take him, just sweep the case under the rug and throw the interpreter in jail over it. So, these things, they compound on themselves. Whereas with Kershaw, it's a different situation. It's been for such a long period of time. There's really not a negative thing you could say about Kershaw off the field. Yeah. When they interviewed him on Sunday Night Baseball earlier this year on Father's Day, and they're chatting with him, I'm thinking, man, this guy's going to be in a TV booth soon, and he's going to be really, really good in a TV.
So
he
good.
is like
You see him in the All-Star game?
He could be Major League Baseball's Tom Brady in terms of just that legendary player who jumps into the booth and just kicks ass at it right away.
Well, wait a minute. Tom Brady is not kicking ass.
I think Tom Brady's doing a great job in the booth.
He's the worst number one. He's getting better.
Okay.
He's getting better. But
I think Tom's done a great job. I like Tom a lot.
Is insightful. Kershaw has a sense of humor. Kershaw brings something to the table. I think Tom Brady was just handed the number one position, and then his first month was like, oh my God.
Well, it was a rough start, but I think he's gotten a lot better since
He's
then.
got better. But Greg Olson.
I like Tom a lot.
And Moose Johnson, all those guys must have been going like, are you kidding me? I'm sitting behind this guy.
Well, that's a fair thing, but I mean, it's just Fox, man. They're really deep
By
right
the
now.
way, Pasta, what you said, which I cannot repeat on the air, Pasta. He referred to Barry Bonds as a part of the male anatomy, but that is also something you have to factor in, that Barry Bonds is not as likable as the before-mentioned Clayton Kershaw, or even as much as we hate Shohei Ohtani is a pretty good guy. So the one thing that we also have to keep in mind that when we're talking about Barry Bonds, should he had played for the Dodgers or another team, that he is not the most likable person in the room. All right, Pasta.
He's spoiled, too. Like, I think a lot of people look at his upbringing, and he was spoiled with two insanely amazing baseball minds around him. And just the way he grew up There's spoiled.
A lot to hate there, man. A lot to hate. But, as you mentioned, Sam, he's a San Francisco Giant. And,
so we love him.
And that's
all
the
it
end
takes.
of that.
It's all about the laundry.
We continue. We're going to get into Jonathan Kaminga next. The big contract that he has not signed. Is he going to play for is it a PO now? Is he going to, or the QO, the qualifying offer? Is he going to play for the $8 million and leave all that money on the table? That seems to be the latest. We'll discuss that. Get you ready for the 49ers taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Sam Lubman, Dan Avone, and the producers of Chaos here on a Saturday. Back with much more right after this on 95.7 The Game.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Don't let pneumococcal pneumonia break your stride. If you're 50 or older, you're at increased risk. So be proactive with Capvaxive pneumococcal 21-valent conjugate vaccine to help protect against invasive pneumococcal disease and pneumonia caused by certain types of pneumococcal bacteria. Capvaxive helps protect against the strains of bacteria that cause about 30% more IPD cases than any other pneumococcal conjugate vaccine in adults over 50, according to national-level CDC stats. Regional variations may exist. Don't get Capvaxive if you're allergic to the vaccine or its ingredients. Tell your doctor if you have a weakened immune system. Common side effects include injection site reactions, feeling tired, headache, muscle aches, and fever. Capvaxive does not protect against all strains. For more information, call 1-800-927-8888 or visit capvaxive.com. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Capvaxive. Need help paying for your Merck vaccine? Visit merckhelps.com. Sponsored by Merck.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A strong heart, a steady stride, a life full of milestones. El Camino Health is here for you. From advanced heart and vascular care that keeps you on beat, to expert orthopedic treatments that keep you moving, and innovative cancer care that fights alongside you. With expert care for women, men, and new moms, supporting you through every chapter of your health, because every life we touch is built on trust and compassion. El Camino Health, our strength, your health.
All guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line.
Warriors head coach Steve Kerr now joining us on the River Islands guest line.
Joining us right now on the River Islands guest line, none other than Steph Curry.
River Islands in Lathrop is the best-selling master plan community in all of Northern California. With its lakes, parks, trails, and collection of new home neighborhoods, the good life can be your life. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands?
There are children, friends, and families walking, riding, on paths and roads every day. Remember, they're real people with loved ones who need them to get home safely. Protect our cyclists and pedestrians, because they're people too. Go safely, California. From the California Office of Traffic Safety and Caltrans.
What is it that makes the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid an incredible SUV? Is it the spacious interior that's comfy for the whole crew? Or the capability to go off-road? Maybe it's up to 600-plus miles of range. What if it's all of that and more? What is it then? The all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. So much more than just another SUV. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Your cold is coming. Your cold is coming. When you feel a cold coming, shorten it with Zicam, the #1 cold shortening brand.
Oh, no, not before my big trip.
The big trip you've been planning is coming up, and so is your cold. But Zicam can shorten your cold and get you back to planning sooner.
Thanks, Revere.
We really should keep Zicam in the house.
Shorten your cold with Zicam.
Take it from America's most revered messenger. Shorten your cold at the first sign with cold shortening products from Zicam, the #1 cold shortening brand. Available in stores or see where to buy at Zicam.com.
Join Lorenzo Neal and Evan Giddings at Laughing Monk Brewing in Sunnyvale every red and gold home game this season for our special live pregame broadcast. Plus, we'll have tailgate games, prizes, great food, and drink specials. For more information, visit 957thegame.com.
Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Oh, we're on. Caddy Zach is going nuts back there, pointing at me like, I was like, yeah, what do you want? What do you want? Caddy Zach, by the way, we had two. What the hell are we listening to, by the way?
Uptown Girl.
Billy Joel? Jesus.
As you can imagine, it was on my board.
I was going to say, I thought like, pasta's the most random. It's random pasta, and now apparently my man Caddy Zach, for whatever reason, just Billy Joel Uptown Girl, which was a tribute to his wife at the time, Christy Brinkley, who was an Uptown model. And they always said about Billy Joel, it was not the most, as they like to say, a box of chocolates. He wasn't the most handsome kid on the block, but he got very, very attractive women, starting with Christy Brinkley.
Well, it helps when you're an incredibly talented singer.
That's very true.
I'm sure if I had better vocal cords, I could be doing better too. But.
Not only a singer, I saw him in Madison Square Garden. He used to play Madison Square Garden every month, and he had a contract with Madison Square Garden, much like that of Celine Dion, who had these contracts with MGM. But he is a tremendous musician in terms of playing the piano. He is really worth the price of admission. That was a couple of years ago. I don't know if he's still hitting the notes. But my man Caddy Zach, one of the things he threw at me first thing this morning is like, who do you like tonight? Brock Lesnar and or John Cena. And you made an Undertaker reference already this morning.
I did. That's about the depth of my wrestling knowledge.
But the Undertakers, are you Big WWE guy, Caddy Zach?
Not really, but like, I don't know. These big ones, like I'll tune in. I mean, this one I think is a pay-per-view though, so I don't have ESPN Plus.
Yeah, oh, that's right. They're with ESPN now. Yeah. You know, Vince McMahon, back in the day when I was doing those shows, he used to produce the shows. You know, they got rid of him, obviously, and now it belongs to WME or Endeavor and ESPN, but he was nuts. He was absolutely nuts. He would be in my ear screaming at me. Much like that. It
sounds like me producing the morning roast.
But do you get into, say, Spadoni's ear while Spadoni's talking?
No, I try to wait for him to not be talking.
That's because you're a good producer.
Oh, no. Tell me Vince didn't do that.
No, if he gets upset, he's dropping F-bombs, and he doesn't care.
If you're talking,
If you're at the USA Network in front of millions of people, he is telling you, you know, you are this, that, and the other thing. And they're all expletives, and you're trying to maintain, and we're going to be right back here on the USA Network with whomever. CM Punk and company. It is the worst thing to do, but you have to, the one thing, Sam, when you get into television, if that's a path you choose at some point, you have to internalize. Like, at no point can you say, will you please shut up? Mm-hmm. Like, because the audience has no idea who it is that is talking to you or who's in your ear. And you know where I'm going with this? Rosenthal. Did you guys see Ken Rosenthal?
I did.
Did you guys talk about this past week?
It might have gotten a mention. You know, I'm sure it was talked a little bit about it off air. I'm not going to share what was said about it off air, but
why not? We could talk about. I mean, I always thought. So for those that don't know,
no, I guess I would say the only thing that was off air is just like Rosenthal, you suck.
Yeah. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Ken Rosenthal, he's been a baseball insider. Pasta originally with MLB Network is where he was, and sort of
he goes as far back to covering the Orioles in the '80s. But yeah, he's been with Fox for a long time.
He's one of the. He's one of the few guys in baseball media where if he's saying that this is happening, then it's happening.
Sam and I met him.
Yeah.
Buster Olney and him.
Yeah, John Morosi was in that for a little while. Bob Nightingale, sort of. Yeah, he's in that kind of core of. He's a legit baseball
very good
newsbreaker.
What he does.
Yes.
And you always thought of him, at least I did, as this smiling, always in a good frame of mind, because from time to time I'll watch his podcast. And he has the bow tie, sort of his signature look. Mm-hmm. And he's always smiling with that cute little...
Very friendly to talk
He's
to.
a very small man. Not that that's neither here nor there, but I want to say he goes about 5'3".
He's like 5'5", something like that. Okay. Yeah, I was surprised how short he was when I met him. Rizzo got a picture with him. Rizzo went up to him in that game and is just like, Ken, I respect you so much. You're one of my favorites. Can I get a picture with you? And Ken's like, absolutely, which, you know, not everyone does that.
Pasta.
Takes pictures with Steve.
I've never done that with anybody else in the media, Dan Devone. You know me. That was the only person I've ever done that with.
Of all the people.
I didn't know he had a demon side to him, Dan.
So, again, for those of you that don't know what it is we're talking about, this nice little man with a bow tie, always smiling, was doing a live hit on Fox, right? And it was the Milwaukee Brewer game.
He was the post-game interview afterwards.
And Milwaukee had just clinched the division title, I want to say, and it was on a walk-off. So they go, let's go down to the field, and Ken Rosenthal is with the star of the game. And so he's talking to the guys. The Brewers are celebrating. They just not only won a game in a walk-off fashion, but they also just clinched the division title. Congratulations to them. And so while he's interviewing this player gets the Gatorade bath and or somebody dumped water on him, and Rosenthal instinctively got out of the way and backed up blindly and then walked over, almost got submarined by a photographer, and then it was caught on tape that this nice man with a bow tie, Uncle Milky, turns and gives the ultimate death stare. I mean, it was demonic. He looked right through this guy.
The amount of explicatives that look had. Like, he was giving him the, what are you bleep, bleep, bleep doing, you bleep, bleep, bleep? Like, it was
serial killer-esque. It was so scary. And shook his head walking back to the interview. And, of course, with things being viral in this world that we live in these days.
The internet being the internet.
It just went from one person to the next. And seeing him afterwards, did that change your opinion of Ken Rosenthal?
I mean, I don't know the why that guy was there. It could have been one of those things like, why are you standing there? I think it was just a photographer. Changing my opinion, I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not going to think one way or the other on it.
I appreciate that.
That's not enough for me to inflate. I don't think better of him. I don't think worse of him. I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, probably not a great look. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people that we look up to and idolize are probably not worth of, idolizing.
I guess my point in all of this is, and this is where it started, is that you can never, as long as the camera's hot or a mic is hot, if you have issues with the producer or somebody behind the scenes, you need to take care of that when nobody's looking and or nobody can hear you. And I've made that mistake. I was in New York after a Mets huge victory, which sealed a playoff spot back in the day, and the producer wanted to go to me live. I was outside of the stadium, and I said, it's not a good time. If you turn on that light, they're coming out. They're in this crazy state of mind. New York fans will see that light. They will drown me out, and they will go nuts. And sure enough, I got absolutely just swarmed under, and there was a shot of me shoving someone out of the way because I'm trying to get to the camera, and, that stayed with me for a little while. So
we can find this sound, Rizzo. You want to get on that? You had it scrubbed?
Yes, exactly. Because I knew exactly after someone saw it live, I'm like, all right, we need to get rid of that. So
I'll find a Dan Rosenthal.
Are you regretting taking a picture with this man?
No, I mean,
right. I'm glad that you guys stand up for him. You are two baseball minds, and you are appreciating one of your own, regardless of what it is that he did. I can appreciate it.
No, listen, it wasn't a great look. He did apologize. He probably didn't apologize because he did it. He probably apologized because he got looked at so negatively. It's just, it wasn't a great look on him.
One thing I will say is, though, if you are able to physically give off that look with a drop of a hat just on a fly like that, then you've probably done it before. That's probably might be who he is.
Good look. That's good. Good answer there.
Exactly. It's a window to who he really is. When we go on radio, when you go on television, we're all full of crap. We all put our best foot forward. We're all smiling and trying to be this likable person. Like me, watch me. I'm a nice person. Behind the scenes,
You're pretty genuine.
A lot of people go home and kick the dog. A lot of people go home and are that person. I think that was a window and an insight to this dude is dealing with a little rage.
He doesn't shove New Yorkers, though.
All right.
Well, New Yorkers shove back harder, so.
All right. Let's do a little Jonathan Kaminga. And the big question as to whether or not he's going to take the qualifying offer and play for the $8 million. We'll go through all the scenarios. Once again, there is an offer on the table that seems to be the most viable of a 2-year deal that is estimated around $48 million. The hang up there is obviously that it's a team option. Not a player option, which seems to be really the sticking point for that of Aaron Turner, who, by the way, was on our airwaves yesterday. Let's just kick things off. And Aaron Turner was talking about, listen, don't get this thing crooked, that Jonathan Kaminga wants to be a Golden State Warrior.
I think that's like a loaded question. The Warriors are first class, everything they do. So to say you don't want to play for the Warriors organization I don't know how you could say that, because it's, again, I've players on all different teams. It's first class, and there's a lot of different ways I can explain that. But the Warriors are phenomenal with how they treat guys and family, like everything. So the organization, along with JK's relationship with Joe, I don't think there's any feeling of, I wouldn't want to play for the Warriors. I think, JK, of course, this is a guy, and I've said this, he works super hard. He really loves the game. A lot of guys say they really love it. That he loves it. You could ask his peers that. They know that. And he wants a chance to start every night, finish every night. He wants to be a focal point of a team. That's not a secret. That's something he works for. JK gets up. He's done this for 2 summers in a row. He'll wake up at 6 a.m. You don't, to work out. He'll be on the court by 5:30 getting, worked on. You don't do that to, not want more. And that's normal. And that's part of, he wants to grow. So does he want to be on the Warriors? He understands it, and he's open to it. And, the Warriors are the organization that drafted him. So, of course, he'd love to stay with one team his whole career. His favorite player, his, idol is Kobe Bryant. That's what he did, if it's possible. But, of course, he wants a bigger role. That's not really a secret. But is he open to coming back and being all about what the next year is about and understanding that he could get moved in a few months? Like, he's digested it, and he's open-minded to it.
Sam, where are you at with the whole JK drama?
Well, first I got to take a step back here, Dan. You know what we call everything around Jonathan Kaminga here at the station, right? Have you heard our Kaminga crisis?
What is it?
Kaminga crisis!
whenever we got to talk Kaminga, I got to play the Kaminga crisis drop. I'll say this. Saying that's a loaded question, no, I disagree. I don't think that's a loaded question. It is very much a simple yes or no answer. And if Aaron Turner started off by saying, yes, he does want to be here, but ... then I'd be more inclined to believe that Kaminga does want to be here. There was no part of that answer that told me that Kaminga wants to be with the Warriors. Kaminga wants a role that is best for him, which is understandable. I think a lot of players in his situation want that. I don't think the logo on the jersey really matters that much to Jonathan Kaminga at this point. You know, everyone wants to say, oh, I want to be with the same team my whole career. Like, do you think people who are drafted by the Charlotte Hornets are saying that? You know, do you think, Franz Wagner in Orlando saying, I hope I'm stuck on this team my entire career?
Or he re-up with them.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean he'll be there his entire career, though. So it's the chasing of one jersey your entire life. Not everyone, I think, really cares about that to that extent. And I don't think Kaminga really cares. I don't think if Jonathan Kaminga is a career Warrior, I don't think that's something he has on his little goal chart that he has on his wall. I assume he has a chart of all of his goals on his wall at home. So yeah, that answer there told me it's not what we already kind of knew. I don't think he's married to being here. Would he come back and play his role if given the opportunity? I mean, that's probably where this is going to end. But I think Kaminga right now, he's like, you know what? I'm here for now, and I'm going to do my job. The second that door opens up to where I could go somewhere better, I think he takes it right now.
So do you see him coming back and playing for the qualifying offer at $8 million, which would mean he'd be leaving upwards to $13 to $15 million on the table? Again, just for those of you, to be honest with you, I can't stand play basketball at the end of the day. When we get into contracts, when we talk about player, team options, qualifying offers, it just miss me with all that. I get a headache. I don't. Some people really get into it. You know, the agent talk, by the way, we heard from Aaron Turner, that is his agent. It bores the hell out of me. But because it is front and center, and we're talking about these quote-unquote rising star for the Golden State Warriors, the options for him right now, you can play for the qualifying offer at $8 million. What does that mean? That means that he's not signing a contract with the Warriors. He's not going to get the $21 to $24 million this year. But if he plays for the qualifying offer at $8 million, the plus being for him, the benefit being for him, is that he can veto any trade. He can't be traded. And secondly, that at the end of this year, he's an unrestricted free agent, and he can go to the highest bidder and do whatever he pleases. Do you think that's a viable option, or is that just a bluff on the part of Aaron Turner and Jonathan Kaminga?
I think that's kind of where this is going to head. I do believe, Dan, that this will end with him signing the qualifying offer. It's going to lead to him punting on all sorts of money in the short term. And they're playing, it's a big time we're trying to bet on ourselves situation that Aaron Turner and Jonathan Kaminga are going with here. And, I tried mapping out the money last night, and obviously there's a lot of hypotheticals and stuff that are involved here. But, Kaminga has a 3-year, $75 million deal in front of him. That third year, obviously, is not guaranteed. It's a team option. He wants it to be a player option. But if he accepted that deal, he could be looking at $75 million over the next 3 years, which, it's a lot of money. Or he can do this, I'm going to bet on myself option here, take the $8 million this year, but then you're hoping, what happens on the market next summer. If he could get the Josh Giddey deal, that 4-year, $100 million deal, which I think is very possible, he can get that. Then you're looking at about $108 million over the next 5 years for Kaminga in terms of earnings this point forward here, which, that's still pretty good. But when you factor in that if he takes this Warrior deal in 3 years, the amount of money that might be available to him, especially if he kind of gets anointed as the face of the franchise post-Steph, then there's going to be even bigger money that he could be looking at on the other side of this potentially 3-year deal. At the end of the day, and Turner talked about this, how, we're taking the risk now, but it could be a thing 5 to 10 years now where it's the greatest move ever. You're looking at about a 10-year timeline to where if Jonathan Kaminga takes the qualifying offer, it won't be until 10 years from now, assuming everything goes right for him, that he'll finally be making the kind of money that he could be making the next few years if he does stay with the Warriors. So I think another point, Aaron was asked, does he care more about the role or the money? And Aaron said that, the role is what matters to him, which is pretty good because if the money was what mattered, there's going to be not as much of it that's going to be coming into your bank account based off the path that you're choosing right now.
Let's hear Aaron Turner talking about that very point.
I think it's clear. I mean, if he could prioritize, it's the role, but that's not really existent right now, right? Like you can only get the role on the place that you can get to. And right now you can't get to those spots. So yes, I mean, I think the fact that, he's very open-minded to Sacramento, to Phoenix, and some of the other teams that we've talked to says that. I mean, he wants a bigger role. No one's hiding from that. He's not hiding from that. But on any great team, right, somebody has to sacrifice. It's 100% needed to win at the highest level. And sometimes you got to do stuff you don't want to do or necessarily, put your personal agenda behind you to win. So I think, the role would be the coveted thing for him, but that's just, at this moment, not an option.
Aaron Turner joining us on
unless the Warriors do one of these two sign-in trades. Sorry about
right.
that. But, right now, it's just not.
Who's that loudmouth at the end there?
That was one Matthew Steinmetz.
Oh, was it Steinmetz?
Yeah, doing a little false start there.
So
another golfer at the station.
Steiny?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
I might be one of the few people at the station that doesn't golf.
My money's still in Caddy's Ag. Bro, you better not let me down. If I go out with you one day and you're spraying the ball all over the place.
Especially after all that smack you talked about the lefties on the course.
Fair enough. I mean, I can walk in.
I love listening to that dude. He's so chill. Yeah. If someone cuts you off on 280, are you flashing the bird? Are you going road rage? Or you always just sound like Spicoli in Fast Times at Ridgemont
High? I'd say I'm pretty chill. Yeah.
The opposite of me in traffic. That's the exact, driving in the smart. So, quick aside here, then we'll jump back to Kaminga in about 36 seconds. One of the 3 perks of producing a morning show, Dan, is I never run into traffic going home or, coming into work or going home.
Which is what time? Give us times.
Yeah, I'm driving in at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
There's no one on the road, so I get to zip in here pretty quickly. So I never have to deal with traffic. So on the rare days where I do have to deal with traffic, like this morning, I am not. Oh, I get so angry. I am screaming at everybody on the road.
Oh, that's you, though.
Yeah.
That's your personality.
I am an absolute jerk when it comes to traffic. I'm not cursing it out at people. I'm yelling in the safety of my car. But, oh, no, I hate traffic so much.
I'm going to take you down to the Zen Center one day. We're gonna change.
I want to go to a rage room. That's what I want to do.
They're so much fun.
The polar opposite. What the hell is a rage room? Do I want to know?
Yeah, there's like microwaves and like TVs, and they give you like a bat and like different things to hit stuff
you
with.
Just smash
you
stuff.
just break stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're just releasing sort of negative energy.
Yeah, it's like it's a constructive way to unleash your pent up aggression rather than unleashing it on the world like Ken Rosenthal did.
Well, there's places that you can go. By the way, it's his birthday apparently yesterday. Somebody mentioned
Ken Rosenthal?
Yeah. So apparently there's places out in the North Bay that you can go where you can climb certain mountains or certain areas and do that very thing. Not hit anything, but just scream. Because no one can hear you. There's no one around. And you can just let it go. Just get it out of the system, Sam. I mean,
some of these rooms are pretty
bothering you.
Some of these rooms are pretty soundproof. So I wonder how much Kaminga is screaming in rooms these days over whether or not it's the role or the money for him. And again, it's a good thing that the role is what matters to him because he's punting on a lot of money right now. And again, he's still going to make a lot of money in his career, but it all has to go perfect for him. I don't know if he's ever going to be a max player. I don't know if you think he'll be a max player ever, Dan, but if he wants to get the kind of money that down the line that Aaron Turner's talking about, he's going to need to be a max player someday. And I think there's a very fair question to ask there as to whether or not he is going to be a max player someday.
It's fascinating when it comes to Jonathan Kaminga. I'm a little bit more optimistic than you. I think this deal gets done. And I think that maybe the Warriors, who have already blinked in my eyes, they have, they've come back and increased the offer. And I think that they're showing that maybe Jonathan Kaminga has a little bit more leverage than they're leaning onto because they need a youthful basketball player on that current roster. That is damn straight. And I think that either they'll remove the team option and give him a player option, or they'll front load that contract. But I don't blame what Dunleavy's doing. Dunleavy has to do this. This is what it is that Dunleavy is offering is absolutely fair. It's market value. It's playing within the structure of what it is the Warriors can offer. I think it's very reflective of his talent to this point. In fact, I think some would argue that it's being a little bit too generous. And I don't fault Aaron Turner and that of the Jonathan Kaminga party because they're doing what it is that they feel is appropriate for them.
Well, so you say that Dunleavy's offering a fair deal. You do think this deal does end with him coming back. Then I guess that's a two-part question here then, Dan. Maybe we can get into this more on the other side because we're getting up against it. But, why are you so optimistic that you do think this deal gets done? And then the other is just, do you think that the role that Kaminga will be coming back to, is that the right role for him? Because I know that's, again, you say it's a fair deal. And, yeah, on the surface, I do agree with you. It is a fair deal, the 2 years plus the team option. But I don't know if the role the Warriors have in mind for Kaminga is the role that Kaminga has in mind for Kaminga.
So that's the sticking point. So I think what his agent is saying is like, hey, listen, we know we're going to be in a relegated role, meaning that the offense isn't going to go through Jonathan Kaminga.
No, he'll be probably coming off the bench.
Jonathan Kaminga won't even be a starter. He may not even finish. We're willing to do that. But then you need to take care of us on the back end because we're going into this season and we know we've got a star, but we're willing to take a subordinate role. So either front load us, put more money in the beginning of the contract, or give us the player option, take care of us on the back end. And I think that that's where the two will come together and get something done.
Do you think he gets the player option at the end of the day?
Steph Curry doesn't even have a player option in his deal.
I think it's a different situation, though. Like with Kaminga, you look at how this all structured out. It's all structured for a reason. How many years does just Steph and Jimmy have left on their deals?
2.
They have 2 years. That is why it's a 2+1 for Kaminga. The Warriors want to be able to kind of stop and look around, see where they're at when things are done with Steph and Jimmy, because that's going to be a massive transition into the post-Steph years for this organization. And Joe Lacob, he looks at Jonathan Kaminga as that guy afterwards. And this is something, I don't know if you have the sound when you play it on the other side. Turner said that he wants Kaminga to decide whether Kaminga is the guy on this team going forward. And 2 years from now, we don't know what this team's going to look like. 2 years from now, Jimmy and Steph announce their retirement. Kaminga wants to be able to look around and say, man, I could come back here and play alongside Pods and Moody and TJD, or I can go to insert team here that might want to give me more money and might have a better situation for me to hitch my wagon to. Kaminga just wants to be able to decide whether or not the post-Steph Warriors are worth him being the face of. And I think it's completely fair for a way how things have gone these last 4 years. I totally understand why Kaminga would want to be able to make that decision himself.
All right, when we continue here on 95.7 The Game, more on Jonathan Kaminga, and also tell you why. Listen, if you listen to me at any point, you know where I'm going with this. This is an old basketball team, and they need Jonathan Kaminga more than Jonathan Kaminga needs them. We'll explain, we'll break it down, we'll talk about Jonathan Kaminga's future with the Golden State Warriors right here on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, it's Joe Shasky here for Ceremony Ford, and let me keep it real with you. If you've been thinking about making the switch to an electric ride, now is the time to pull the trigger because Ceremony Ford in Colma is ending the summer with some heat. So check this out. Slide into a brand new 2025 Mustang Mach-E for just $225 a month on a lease. That's right, $225 a month for 36 months. Or if you're ready to buy, lock in 0% APR financing for 72 months and grab a $2,000 rebate. Who else is giving you that? Only Ford. But here's the kicker. The federal EV tax credits on Mach-E and the F-150 Lightning are about to expire September 30th. You wait, you lose. Don't let Uncle Sam keep your money. Ceremony Ford has one of the biggest inventories in Northern California, and they're ready to hook you up. Find them right off at 280 in Colma or online 24/7 at ceremonyford.com. That's Ceremony Ford, the Bay Area's Mach-E superstore. Tell them Butcher sent you.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on OpenSignal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Ready for a career that matters? Alameda County is hiring now for positions across multiple departments with flexible schedules, unbeatable benefits, and excellent wages. Explore open positions. Apply today at acjobs.org. That's acjobs.org. Alameda County, our community, your purpose.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter? Right? And the best part? They accept Discover. Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Are you interested in being an install or service technician? Good news! R&S Doors and Gates is hiring. If you have good mechanical skills and a knowledge of power tools, welding, and motor controls, you should apply today. R&S Doors has openings to repair and install commercial overhead doors, entry doors, and loading dock equipment. You must be able to work in a professional, fast-paced environment. Call 800-FIX-A-DOOR and apply today. That's 800-FIX-A-DOOR or visit rsdoors.com. R&S Doors. Look for the red truck.
Game day just got an upgrade. Whether you're gearing up or winding down, Westfield Valley Fair is your go-to spot. Hit the latest gear at Shoe Palace. Grab bold bites at Shake Shack and Eataly. And catch the action on big screens at King's Fish House. From premium shopping to epic eats and entertainment, make every football Sunday legendary. Westfield Valley Fair, where football fans fuel up in style.
This year, the Valley of Hearts Delight fundraiser shines brighter than ever with our theme, Legacies Under the Lights. Step into History Park, glowing with restored historic neon signs from the History San Jose collection, and enjoy an unforgettable night of dining, live music, and celebration. All proceeds support preserving the stories and landmarks that make our valley unique. Tickets are now on sale at historysanjose.org. Join us for Legacies Under the Lights October 9th and help keep history shining for generations to come.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
At Straight Talk, we get it. You say no a lot.
Mom, can I get a tarantula?
No.
Coffee?
No. So we're giving you more reasons to say yes, like a free 5G phone with real unlimited data with select plan activation.
Can I use the free phone?
Yes. See? Doesn't it feel good to say yes to more?
Absolutely. Face tattoo?
Absolutely not. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. In-store activation of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Keep on running me, and say at me. It's my anxiety. Yeah.
What is
What's
this?
in me?
She's
It's
trying to
my
cut me out,
anxiety.
right? I've given up trying to make rhyme or reason as to what it is that we're listening to.
She sings about anxiety. I think it's a very appropriate song.
Why is there anxiety?
You've seen the world?
Yeah, that's true. But it's beautiful out today. It's
It
a
is
gorgeous
nice
Saturday.
out today. It looks nice. It's,
Yeah, well, I know that you like doom and gloom. Like,
Oh, it's
I
just
know
the
you
mood these
enjoy
days.
when it's like 55 and cloudy and it's the middle of August and Sam's got a big smile on
Oh,
his
that's the
face.
weather right there. Ah, give me that. Injecting into my veins.
We're talking about Jonathan Kaminga and the
Kaminga crisis?
Kaminga crisis!
I can play that all day.
Okay, that's you got to save that for the morning show. That's going to be a headache. And what it is that the Warriors are going to do, what it is that he wants to do. I mean, it's fascinating because listen, just theoretically, the Warriors need this guy, and they don't need him to come back at a qualifying offer. That's the worst case scenario. And one of the reasons why I think that they haven't added to this team over the offseason is because they're waiting on Jonathan Kaminga. They want to know whether he's going to be one of their pieces that they can build around and then get players accordingly that'll fit with Jonathan Kaminga and what it is the Golden State Warriors are trying to do. But this is an old basketball team. And any of you who are under the assumption that Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry, now all on the wrong side of 35, out of the case of Steph Curry, you're pushing 40 years of age, that they can play effective basketball for 82 games and then still have enough left in the tank for 2 months of basketball to get you to a Western Conference Finals and or an NBA championship. When you look at the construct currently of the Western Conference and all these young boys starting where the trophies residing in Oklahoma and Dallas and Minnesota and Houston, I just don't know what it is that you're putting in your coffee in the morning because that doesn't add up. And what do you need? You need youth. You need a young player who is in his early 20s, albeit the dude's got some warts, but you don't have any other options. And so that's where it begins and ends with me with Jonathan Kaminga. You need Jonathan Kaminga more than Jonathan Kaminga needs you. Let's continue the conversations and officially open up the phone lines at 888-957-9570. Scott's hanging out in Berkeley. Scott, what's on your mind this morning?
Gentlemen, good morning.
Hey, Scott.
Can you hear me? Okay, my thing is I'm just tired of the whole thing. I want it to be over with one way or the other. Again, I think my problem is I wish Junior Dunleavy had been a little bit more both aggressive and outside the box. I think probably he should have told Aaron Cooper, go find an offer sheet. Have him sign the offer sheet, bring it back to us. Then we'll handle that. Insofar as Sacramento and the calls, with Scott, he probably should have told Scott Perry, I'm not interested in Malik Monk. I'm not interested in DeRozan. If you want to get serious, put Keegan Murray in play. Perry would probably hang up the phone and probably not call back. The deal that has been out there all summer to me, and I think this is still feasible, and you guys have already mentioned his contract, was Giddey. I mean, Giddey signed at 25. If you get J.K. at 25, that's movable. But I also looked at that as a package because I've always thought of that as a 2-for-2. What I also wanted out of Chicago, and I fully admit this, I am in the free Kobe White camp. I think he's making $8 million. $8 million on his number, that equals Buddy Hield, and he's 7 years younger. So I'm just kind of going. That would be the most to me. That's the most reasonable fix. It's a little outside the box, I admit, but I'm just frustrated. I mean, Jonathan wants some place where he can eat without any repercussions from the occasional missed defensive assignment. And I go back with Chicago. Chicago extended Lonzo Ball and then moved him to Cleveland. So I think it's possible that they would do that again with Giddey. Just, they're not, right now the Warriors are stuck. I don't want to do the deal with Sacramento because I'm still clearly scarred about Mitch Richmond for Billy Owens. That to me seems like like the most logical step for me. But then again, I'm me. So it's like I don't know what anybody else is going to think about that. I threw that one in there. You guys can chew on it for a little bit. Have a good day.
Yeah, I don't think Sacramento works because the Warriors have no need for Malik Monk. Royce O'Neal, he's another guy that doesn't work on this basketball team.
I'd take Keegan Murray, but I don't know if the Kings have to say yes to this deal.
No, there's Keegan Murray. Murray's not. They're not letting go of him.
Yeah, like I said, I say yes to that. You need the Kings to say yes to that. But to Scott's point, though, in terms of you can give him the Giddey deal and how that's still movable, like therein lies kind of the issue, the biggest underlying issue with the Warriors and Kaminga, and that is the lack of trust that has been exhibited on both sides here. Kaminga doesn't want to just get traded to anywhere, because if the Warriors do decide to bring Kaminga back and just trade him, the Warriors are going to make a trade that benefits the Warriors. They could, go out of their way to try and send Kaminga to a destination that works for him, but by and large, that's very unlikely to happen. And that's what Kaminga and Turner are trying to do here, is they're trying to control his situation to where he's going to have some say in terms of what the next team he plays for is. Is the next team going to be the Warriors and he stays his entire career? Is the next team going to be the Warriors and then he goes somewhere else? If he's going to go somewhere else, Kaminga wants to decide where that somewhere else is. He's not going to leave it to the Warriors to send him. Like, what if the Warriors decide to send him to one of the NBA prisons of the league? What if they decide to just dump him on the Nets? Or, the Bulls, yeah, that could be an option too, but the Bulls are perpetually in the play-in tournament. Or what if they decide to just send him to NBA jail and he ends up on the Washington Wizards? Those are the things that Turner and Kaminga are concerned about with the Warriors. And again, Dan, like I said, it just goes into the lack of trust. Jonathan Kaminga a couple years ago, when he went to C.J. Holmes and said, "I've lost all faith that Steve Kerr can act, correctly develop me," shows up to the next game with a fresh haircut. Everyone's thinking like, all right, he's sending a message. He's not happy here. And it ended up being a very up and down season for him. He had some good moments. He had some bad moments. And that continued into this year. Some good moments, some bad moments. He was a big part of why the Warriors were having success early. He wasn't a big part of why they were having success late. All is to say, Kaminga is not going to put his faith in the Warriors organization to make a decision that benefits Jonathan Kaminga, because the Warriors are going to make decisions that benefit the Warriors. And if it works out for Kaminga, great. But it's not Mike Dunleavy's job to make Jonathan Kaminga's life better. It's Mike Dunleavy's job to make the Warriors better.
Yeah, and I think that Jonathan Kaminga realizes that. And no player wants to be traded. No player wants to be, especially players hate being traded midseason. Having to pack up.
KD said as much.
In the middle of the campaign is the worst thing possible. So no player wants to go through that. But this is where we're at. I think a lot of this could have been nipped in the bud last year. Like, they could have locked up Jonathan Kaminga last year and maybe at a cheaper price. But they wanted to hold out because they were entertaining, and Aaron Turner talked about this. They were entertaining potentially bringing in Kevin Durant. They wanted to save money to continue to look elsewhere. And it's understandable, I guess, to a certain degree. But Jonathan Kaminga was right there for the taking. You could have taken care of all of this, last season. But this is where we're at. And I think that the one thing, if I'm Jonathan
Kaminga... Hold on. Why do you think they didn't do this last season then? Because the options were there. Do you think it's the Warriors weren't sold enough on Kaminga and his role to make that move? Or do you think maybe they did go to Kaminga and Kaminga's like, you know what? I'm not that sold on my role here.
I think it was all the Golden State Warriors' choice. And I think that the Warriors, to your point, were not entirely sold. Every single year he's been in the league, this is going to be number 5. Could this be the breakout season? And they haven't arrived at a point where they feel confident of giving him the money. Like out of the 49ers, we get to a point where, like, look, we're going to pay this guy, just a matter of how much. They never had that level of security with him. And I think that there's a lot of truth that before they committed money to Jonathan Kaminga, to take you back a year ago, they were entertaining bringing Kevin Durant to this basketball team. Mm-hmm. They were looking to go different. If you believe reports, LeBron James was on their radar. So they were looking to free up money so that they could bring in one of these quote-unquote impactful superstars. And they knew that, they would have Jonathan Kaminga under contract and that they could deal with it this year. So this is where we're at. And I think the idea of entertaining Kevin Durant, and I said this at the time, was ridiculous. But I think a lot of this, to your point, is I think that if Steve Kerr and you were having a beer together and Steve just felt as though this was off the record, he would tell you that, you know what, man, I just don't know about this cat. Like, I know there are times when...
I don't think he'll say it off the record. I think he's made it kind of clear with his actions. You know, when he sits him,
but he will never say.
When he sits him in Game 82 against the Clippers, when he's not using him against the Rockets.
Yeah,
good
point. Good point.
When he's forced to use him against the Timberwolves,
he didn't play him in the play-in game.
No.
So yeah, that's a good point.
Like Steve Kerr, I think, has made it plenty well known that. I mean, when Kerr said, you know, on Willard and Dibs at the end of the year that, you know, I promise this training camp I'm gonna do everything I can to figure it out. You know, how to make it work. Like that sounded like, to me, it was like. The analogy I use, Dan, it's like when you're driving home, when you're in the backseat driving home, and you ask Dad, "Hey, Dad, can we stop at McDonald's on the way?" And Dad's like, "I'll think about it. I promise if we can, we'll make it happen." Yeah, that means no. That's not going to happen. I was not sold when Steve Kerr said that he's going to try and make it work with Kaminga and co this year.
You know, I was doing a show, and I had John. I was talking to Steve Kerr. So would they talk to Steve Kerr every Tuesday or Thursday during the basketball season? And so, well, no, I'm not dropping names. I was filling in.
That was me.
Show.
I did the job. Don't look at them.
And so I asked Steve, I'm like, this was the game after Jonathan Kaminga. They lost to the Los Angeles Lakers, and Jonathan Kaminga got beat on the baseline, and he was literally standing out of bounds, and he had his back to the player who hit the game-winning shot. It was like, and I asked Steve, I'm like, what the hell was going on here? What was Jonathan Kaminga doing? And he wouldn't throw Jonathan Kaminga under the bus. It was clearly Jonathan Kaminga made a mistake and didn't know he was completely defensively out of position in the key play of the game, and Los Angeles won it on this buzzer beater, and it was Jonathan Kaminga's fault. And he said, you have to think of it like this, is that this is what happens when you get these young players that get rushed along, right? And he's out of the G League. So here's a guy who never played a minute of college basketball. Like, he does not, he's the antithesis of a Trace Jackson Davis, right? He didn't get 4 years of college. He's learning on the job, so to speak. And Steve Kerr's like, I just don't have the time. We don't have the time. Coaches don't have the time during an NBA season to practice and to pull him aside and teach him essentially what are the fundamentals of the game, like to take away the baseline, like where to be on a rotation, things that are just second nature to a lot of NBA players because they learn this at an earlier age. Jonathan Kaminga has always been passed along because of the flash, because of the athleticism, because people see potential stardom. But he's never learned how to connect the dots from point A to point B and just be the quote-unquote Hoosier-esque shout-out to your boys there, Zach Green, and the movie Hoosiers, and playing basketball on sort of fundamental level. And Steve has said as much. When I talked to him, he said he just hasn't learned any of that. And we're sort of teaching him as we go, but he's in his third or fourth year in the NBA, and it's sort of difficult because these bad habits now are becoming habitual. Mm-hmm. And that oftentimes is what happens to a lot of young basketball players that either don't go to college or just make the quick leap to the NBA. Yes, they can shoot. Yes, they can cross over. Yes, they can dunk. But all the other stuff that coaches like Steve Kerr put an emphasis on, rotational defense, making sure the floor is balanced, all these little things they missed out on.
Well, keep in mind also, Dan, you know, Jonathan Kaminga did not have a similar runway to kind of play through mistakes that the other guys in this draft class were able to. You know, you look at, you know, the 2021 draft class there, and you look at the minutes played, you know, guys like Cade Cunningham, Franz Wagner, Scotty Barnes, they all have twice as many. Josh Giddey, they all have twice as many minutes played in their career as Jonathan Kaminga. Because when Jonathan Kaminga came here, he was buried on the bench behind a championship caliber roster. Those guys, Cunningham, Wagner, Giddey, Barnes, all those guys, they were drafted onto bad teams or teams that were, you know, on the rise. They had chances to kind of go out there. And yeah, a lot of young guys these days, they aren't fundamentally sound for the major, for the professional level, you know, and you got to play through those warts. You got to, you know, you got to kind of cut your teeth the hard way. And Kaminga's, he had opportunity, yes. Has he had the same runway that a player as raw as him usually gets? Absolutely not, because he's never been able to get consistent run. He's coming off the bench. He's playing around, he's basically getting his minutes jammed in between, the play of, 3-4 Hall of Famers in his career. Most young players in his situation don't have to do that. They have the opportunity to play through their mistakes, get better that way. Now, again, 4 years in, you could say that Kaminga has had that time. I think you can make an argument that, the Warriors have not done enough to kind of allow him to play through that rawness that he has and become a more polished player, because it's difficult to do that when you're getting yo-yoed in and out of the lineup, and also having to do that while playing next to, a player in Steph Curry who is, it's not easy to play alongside of him. That is its own learning process, while also trying, weave in and out of traffic of Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and then eventually Jimmy Butler. It's been a tough situation for a player as young as him, as fresh as him, as raw as him, to truly find a true footing here in this league, on this team.
But I don't think the Warriors were afforded the ability to do that because they've always been competitive.
And that's where you can, if you really want to play the hindsight game, you could say, well, maybe they shouldn't have drafted a 19-year-old in that draft. Maybe they should have.
Well, you could draft a 19-year-old, but the problem is that you're not Detroit back in the day, you're not Oklahoma back in the day, you're not Toronto back in the day, where you could draft a Josh Giddey, you could draft a Franz Wagner, you can draft Scotty Barnes, and then just say, go, do your thing.
Exactly.
You're going to get 35 minutes a game. But
I think that's probably why Steve Kerr wanted Franz Wagner. He saw him as a more polished player who he thinks he could have slotted into his system a little bit easier than someone like where Kaminga, the raw talent might be bigger, but the ability to fit in with the system, in the fit, as we like to say, which Aaron Turner mentioned yesterday, it's not a clean fit with this team.
Let me ask you this. Even Franz Wagner, because every one of those guys that you just mentioned, they either got re-up, extensions, or the max deals. Every single one of those guys, except Jonathan Kaminga. And it's not coincidental. It's because he got drafted by that of the Golden State Warriors. And if Franz Wagner's here and he's in a limited role, and he's a guy that's initially coming off the bench as your 7th, 8th, or 9th guy, and then maybe he moves up to your 6th or 7th, he's still playing in limited action. I don't know that he gets as much money as he did, which I want to say was a max with Orlando. I mean, he got a lot. He got paid. And I don't know that necessarily happens with the Warriors. In fact, I'm willing to say that it won't. So a lot of this is just a victim of circumstance, that you got drafted by Golden State. And
he is on a max deal. He's making 36, 41, 44, 47, 51.
It's not happening with the Warriors.
No, I don't think Kaminga is ever getting that kind of a – he's never getting a runway to get –
Franz Wagner would not get that.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think that Wagner is ever in that position. And again, that is the reality of when you join a team that is in win-now mode. You don't have that chance to, play through your mistakes.
So the big question now going forward for the Golden State Warriors is, are they in a position to move off of Jonathan Kaminga? What does the world look like if Jonathan Kaminga is not part of this basketball team? And if you are going to trade him, you need to bring back somebody that's young, impactful, and then you get value. Even draft picks, if somebody's giving you first-round picks, that's really precarious.
If you're getting a first-round pick for Kaminga, first off, that would be an insane heist by Mike Dunleavy to be able to pull that off. But two, no, that does nothing. If the goal, and that kind of gets into what's the plan here, Dan? What's the plan for the Warriors? The plan is to win one for Steph. Get one for the thumb. At least that's what I'm led to believe. I think they kind of lowered the expectations last year. As I said, the expectation should be try to win a fifth for Steph, not get to the second round and have some Capri Suns, which is where I kind of felt like the expectations were at time last year. No, trading Kaminga for draft picks or anything like that does nothing to achieve that goal. But I do like that question. 888-957-9570. I want to hear from the people out there. What does this team look like with or without Jonathan Kaminga? I love that question. And just what's the best role for him on this team, or is that best role elsewhere?
Yeah, I think this is where I think Jonathan Kaminga has the Golden State Warriors. He's 22, 23.
Going to his age 23 season.
This is a kid who is young, and as much as we want to say win one more for the thumb, what is it, one for the thumb?
One for the thumb, yeah.
Yeah,
Number 5.
That's
one more than LeBron.
And I talked about drinking beers while playing, what is it, playing some putt-putt golf. I mean, that's sitting at the bar and that's getting out of your mind. That's getting silly. That's like drunk talk to me at this point. If
like getting a 5th for Steph?
The Golden State Warriors being competitive as they're currently comprised, there's no way in hell. And I'm not hating on the Warriors. It's Steph Curry, for crying out loud. Might be the greatest athlete, and I say this all the time, at any level, both on and off the court. I don't know that we've seen an ambassador to the sport like that of Steph Curry. I mean, can you think of an athlete? I always bring up Muhammad Ali, and this always goes down a rabbit hole, who has been not only one of the greatest in terms of what he does between the lines or on the court, but then off the court. This guy never has issues. There's no domestic violence. There's no DUIs. This guy is just like the perfect ambassador for the sport. So everybody loves Steph Curry, but you're delusional if you think that Steph Curry at this age is, a lot of us, what we do, Sam, is we romanticize. Well, it's Steph Curry, the greatest shooter in the world.
If you got Steph, you got a chance. That's
what
we always said.
Draymond Green. It's Jimmy Butler. And immediately, where do our minds go? To like 5 or 10 years ago. Yeah. Oh, Steph Curry. The Steph Curry of today, the Jimmy Butler of today, the Draymond Green of today are a little bit better than average basketball players, and they are prone to injury, and you cannot get through 82 games and 2 months of the playoffs. Them's are just the facts when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. And what does that mean at the end of the day? It means you need to get younger. There's got to be somebody that's waiting to take over the throne, or at least you have to have a young option. And it's not, I'm sorry, it's not Brandon Pajemski. If you haven't said that name all offseason.
Pods. That's why we go with Pods.
It's a mouthful.
Valkyrie superfan.
And the same with, Trace Jackson Davis. They're good young players, but they're
role players.
Those are role players.
Brandon Pajemski is a sixth man at best.
All right, let's open up the phone lines at 888-957-9570. Let's get to St. Louis. Ryan wants to chime in on one. Jonathan Kaminga. What's on your mind, Ryan?
I don't think Ryan's right. Maybe we take Ryan on the other side.
Oh, all right. Jeez, Paz, what the hell's going on back there?
Rizzo's got to tell him his Ken Rosenthal story. So
Paz is in a serious conversation with this guy. Apparently he knows him. He's like, yeah, we'll get back to him later. All right, we see the phone lines are stacking up a little bit here. 888-957-9570. We'll continue to talk about Jonathan Kaminga, and then we'll get into the 49ers. Is there a quarterback controversy? Mac 10, baby. We'll talk about Brock Purdy. Will he or will he not go against Arizona? Ryan, I'm sorry, man. You got to hang on. We got to go sell some things. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Sam Loveman, Dan DeVoe, back after this.
Hi, I'm Dallas, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. You know she loves her Shane Company engagement ring, but you also want to surprise her for her birthday, anniversary, or just because she deserves it. Why not get her a bigger diamond with our Easy Trade-Up program? We'll give you the full credit of your original natural diamond purchase toward a new one. Her new diamond only has to be $1 more. You only pay the difference. How's that for an easy trade-up? Visit us in-store or at shaneco.com. Because a friend wants you to win the gifting game. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
All right, team, it's game time. Blue 42, California 8 scratch right on one.
Wait, what play is that? Keep up, man. You said play scratchers for the California Lottery. Oh. With the new Los Angeles Chargers, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams scratchers, it's always a great call. For sure.
On one. Ready, set,
Play the new Game Day Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.
Comcast Business High Five Hotline. What's the state of your excitement?
I signed my business up for the 5-year price lock guarantee, and I can't stop high-fiving people. High five!
Okay, deep breath.
High five.
You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security, all on our ultra-reliable network.
Gig speeds and advanced security? I'm so stoked.
Yep, and you get it at a great rate that's locked in for 5 years.
Woo!
The high five is just your body's way of saying, I'm winning.
So this is natural.
High-fiving everyone you see in a state of business savings enthusiasm? Totally natural.
Sweet! Thank you! High five, everybody! High five!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee is back, but only for a limited time, so sign your business up today.
High five!
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/21/25 for new customers with qualifying bundle. Current customers may be eligible depending on services and area. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
I've used drugs from the age of 15 till 29. I had no friends. I had no family. I wanted to quit because I didn't want to die. Since I've been in recovery, I could write a novel of the good things that happened to me. I finished college. I've held great jobs. It's never too late to recover from addiction. I am living proof that recovery is possible.
Get treatment. It works. To learn more, visit livingproofsf.org.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Injured at work? Don't wait. Every moment counts. You may be entitled to medical care and financial compensation, but time matters. The attorneys at Boxer & Gerson are here to protect your rights and fight for the treatment and support you need. Boxer & Gerson have helped thousands of people across Northern California who were hurt on the job. Don't wait, don't guess. Get answers. Call Boxer & Gerson today at 510-835-8870 or visit boxerlaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer & Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
Losing weight shouldn't be a struggle, and with Jumpstart MD, it doesn't have to be. Start today for just $99 when you join Jumpstart MD's medically supervised weight loss program today. Licensed clinicians create personalized plans, including GLP-1 medications. No insurance? No problem. Jumpstart MD has options to meet your individual needs. With 13 Bay Area locations and online visits, expert support is always within reach. Call 855-JUMPSTART or visit jumpstartmd.com to start transforming your health today.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Of course, Return of the Mac.
Live from downtown San Francisco. Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Oh, I've done that. I've played the generic show open instead of the rejoin. Oh, it's all good, Zach.
No,
I've
I
been
like
there.
this song. So my man Pasta going al dente on me. Listen, you do not impersonate the Kahuna, okay? I do not want to hear me saying 888-957-9570. That does not sound like me.
Wait, Pasta did an impression of you? I think we need to hear this on air.
Go, it's terrible, but go ahead.
It's really not terrible. I was swimming in the bay today, and one Jonathan Kaminga. There's some news on him. 888-957-9570. Dan Devone with you. I did WWE, some TV in Seattle. That's what I do.
That's what I do.
It's enough. You do it for other people, all right?
You know, I close my eyes like I'm talking to two Dan Devones right now.
You don't go al dente on the kid who took care of you, man.
Al dente.
I'm your agent, for crying out loud.
You went al dente.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. So do you get 10% of everything I get?
Which is
what's 10% of zero?
The middle of a donut. All right. 888-957-9570 is the number to call. We're talking about Jonathan Kaminga. Ryan's hanging out in St. Louis. Hey, Ryan, thanks for putting up with all of that. What are your thoughts on Jonathan Kaminga?
What's going on, man? How y'all fellas doing today?
Doing good today, Ryan.
Awesome. My thoughts on JK has been, I see how people look at his deficiencies, and I still see Draymond Green, who gets the ball in the fourth quarter and can't necessarily make a layup. We've seen Kevon Looney get the ball and doesn't have no offensive package. We've seen other guys in this starting lineup not even be able to score over 20 points in the first quarter when Steph Curry get out. And I hear nothing about these guys' deficiency in being able to run the offense without one player, Steph Curry. But when JK seems to have an issue, maybe not rebounding, where we had Klay Thompson, who rarely rebounded. We only got maybe 3 months of Wiggins rebounding for the championship run. We don't hear anybody talk about that. It's very mute. But when JK does something, it's very loud. People have this opportunity to want to say something about, oh, he doesn't rebound. But then I'm like, well, wait a minute. I've seen Steph Curry was a 5-year pro in the finals game, throw a behind-the-back pass and turn the ball over, and he played 3 years of college, and people act as if these guys still don't make mistakes. And so my thing is, why is it that we emphasize the issues of one JK, who was a guy who came in the league at 19 years old, left the Congo at 19, didn't see his parents for 7 years, a guy who's maturing, and we want to have this high stakes for him, but we had guys who played college basketball who still make these stupid mistakes. And so my thing is to the people out there in the world, why is the standard so much different for him and these other guys who went 2-3 years of college still make these same elementary mistakes? Like, come on, Draymond can't even make a layup in the fourth quarter in the last 5 minutes. We seen what happened in the game where Steph Curry get the double team, pass to Draymond. He doesn't even look at the rim. Nobody says, hey, Draymond, where's your 15-footer? Where's your floater? Hey, Draymond, you're a 10-plus-year vet. You tell me you don't have a layup package yet? You don't have a left hand without throwing the ball in the air and calling for a foul? Or you can't keep your feet on the ground without kicking somebody in the private parts? I don't hear, like, come on, guys. Like, why is there such a difference? And when we evaluate JK, for these other guys that are on this team, we seem to sit there and say, hey, guys, y'all get this hall pass. So I just want to hear from you guys, why is the meter so different? Because eventually, guys like Franz Wagner play for Orlando Magic. They played 35 minutes a game for the last 3 years, learning through their mistakes. I call it time on task. If you have a child or something, when you got to teach them, the best experience is what? Living experience. So then you can work them through the game, that confidence, get familiarity with the whistle, get familiarity with the speed of the game, and then you begin to understand your role of the game. But with anybody, if you're getting picked up, jerked out their lineup every time you make a mistake, you don't gain that confidence. You don't understand your role. You don't get to understand how you play with this team, especially the Warriors. So I just want to know, why is it that we move the goalpost so much from one Jonathan Kaminga?
Ryan, listen, Ryan, you're spitting some great facts here. I love what you're saying. I guess I'll answer the first part of Ryan's question, the Steph part first. It's because he's Steph Curry. When you're Steph Curry, no one cares about your mistakes because what you do well is be the greatest shooter of all time. When you have multiple rings like you do, when you're basically perfect like he is, we're going to move off of that behind-the-back pass that he did in Game 7 of the 2016 Finals, because if that pass doesn't happen, is Kevin Durant a Warrior? I don't know. But those are the leaps that you can make there to kind of justify that. The Draymond Green stuff, yeah, Ryan was spitting facts there. The way we turn a blind eye to Draymond's offensive shortcomings, that is a very real thing. When you're a DPOY candidate every year, though, when you're the defensive force that Draymond Green can be, we're going to look the other way. Now, granted, Draymond's done some other things, Jordan Poole, that have been harder to look the other way on. And, yeah, that's a very legitimate gripe that Ryan has on Draymond Green there. The Warriors have already made the decision, though, that they're going to look the other way on some of these Draymond Green things. As far as Jonathan Kaminga, why he gets the tighter scrutiny, I agree. Maybe it is unfair. Maybe it's because he was the number 7th pick in the draft, and there's this belief that he is that next guy. There's this belief that because the Warriors selected him with that pick, that he is going to be the guy who answers the promise that the Warriors saw in him. And when we don't see that every night, there's a frustration that's built up there. And that's where I think it all starts to kind of come to a head, where we start pointing fingers at Jonathan Kaminga. There's always got to be a scapegoat, Dan. We've seen this the last few years. A couple years ago it was Klay Thompson. Last year maybe, then it was Jonathan Kaminga. or it's Steve Kerr. There's always someone we got to blame for the issues on this team. And unfortunately, Kaminga got some of those strays last year.
Well, I would say this, Ryan, if you're still listening, you know your hoops, buddy. You know what's going on, man. You're awake.
He's tapped in.
You know your Warrior basketball. That's for damn sure. I would say that it's not unfair that he's under the microscope, but that's just sort of, and the agent actually talked about this. That's just sort of life playing with a legend like that as Steph Curry, is that all eyes are going to be on the kid. Although you didn't, and somebody is going to need to convince me or at least explain to me why a guy with all his athleticism, which I think we would all agree, and a guy who's at 6'8", 6'9" on a good day, doesn't rebound the basketball. Like, I get it. Steph wasn't a very good defender early on in his career. My point is that he got better, and so maybe it's something that he improves at. But Jonathan Kaminga needs to go get the damn basketball. Like, that's not about shooting threes and putting the work in, or whether you're a good or bad shooter. That's just about putting a body on somebody and want to. That's just simply about getting after it. And either you have that gene or you don't. So I get it. It is unfair, all the scrutiny that is focused on this man for playing with three legends. It sort of comes with the territory, and it's a great point, Ryan. Call back again anytime. But somebody needs to viably explain to me why that man doesn't rebound the basketball better and is not a potential double-double guy. In other words, giving me 20 points and 10 boards a game. Let's get out to Mona, hanging out.
Well, actually, before I'm going to cut you off there, Dan, I do want to answer that question, and Aaron Turner talked about this yesterday. Let's not forget, Kaminga had a really bad ankle injury last year.
He's never rebounded the basketball, though.
Well, I mean, before the season started, before the ankle injury, he was averaging about 5 rebounds a game. After the ankle injury, he was averaging about 3.9, about 2 rebounds a game in the playoffs. Aaron said it yesterday, and I kind of agree with this. Like, that ankle injury, I think we said it was
untimely, but he has never rebounded the basketball going back to his rookie year.
We hear ankle sprain last year. We think, you can come back from that quickly. He was not playing healthy down the stretch last year.
Granted, but he still needs to rebound the basketball better than he has throughout his entire career. And it has nothing to do with the ankle injury. And it has nothing to do with last season. This is going back to his rookie year. Mona's hanging out in Pacifica. Hey, Mona, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Well, thank you.
Good. First, I just wanted to say I appreciated Ryan and his points a whole lot. But I did, as I told your screener, I just want to counter something that he said just a little bit. We have to go back to when Steph first came into the league, and Steph was playing on those paper ankles. Every time he went up for a ball, he comes down, his ankle is spraying. Every time he goes up for a ball, his ankle is spraying again. The difference, and he was getting scrutinized for that. They were just like, we don't know if he's going to make it in the league. Will he be like his dad? We don't know. Can those ankles recover? So he was scrutinized pretty tough. But the difference between what Steph did and what Kaminga is not doing, in my opinion, is Steph worked on his craft. Steph got his body in shape. Steph did all the things that he was supposed to do to become the player that he is now. He didn't just sit down and just like, well, they're just talking about me and I don't know. He didn't do any of that crybaby nonsense. Kaminga, having been in the league for 5 years, I don't care if Jesus is not training Kaminga. You still get out there and you put in the work. I don't see where he's putting in the work, and I agree with you guys. He doesn't rebound. He doesn't hustle. So for being in the league for 5 years with kind of, with the caliber of talent that he does have, I'm looking at him like, you got the temerity to sit here and say you want more money and you don't even do 3/4 of what other players on your team is doing? Get the F out of here with that nonsense. So at this point, the Warriors either need to move on from him or let him stay, because I'm sick of it. We've been doing this. I think Scott called it a saga a few callers ago. I'm over it. I wish the Bay Area teams at some point could come into a new year without all the drama. If it's not the Niners and Jennings and Ayuk, we got Kaminga. I'm just over it. So thanks, guys, for the call. I'm enjoying your show. And for your screener, I just have to say he is my new best friend. He is a fellow Pacifican. You guys take care.
Mona, where the hell have you been? That's the first time I've heard from Mona. That was strong. Mona. All right, Pacifica, is that why she got jumped to the front of the line, possibly?
We had a great conversation. I just want to say that.
I would say this, Mona, and I loved every minute of it, and I hope you call back. I don't know that necessarily the tag on Jonathan Kaminga is that he's a dog or that he doesn't put in the work, according to his agent. Now, granted, it's his agent.
He's going to hype him up.
It's basically his attorney is saying that he's at the gym at 5:30. I don't know that that's necessarily. I know there was some talk a couple of years ago that he wasn't working hard. Jonathan Kaminga, to me, like Jordan Poole, was a guy that was disinterested on defense, was a guy that was mailing it in. If the ball was in his hand, he could shoot it and he could score, but I was never a fan of his in terms of his overall makeup as a basketball player. Jonathan Kaminga doesn't strike me as that sort of guy. Jonathan Kaminga, as I mentioned earlier, I just think fundamentally doesn't understand sort of how to play the game at times, and it's costly to the Warriors. I think he gets a little rushed at times. He's going a little bit too fast. He doesn't let the game come to him. There's some nuance that he needs to perfect, but he doesn't strike me as a guy that is not working hard or working at his craft.
No, not at all. And I don't think there's no ego issue there with him at all either. He is going to put it in. He is going to try and get better. But again, I come back to that in the NBA during the season, there's so little time to practice. They rarely have time to practice at all. And so it's hard to kind of practice through your problems. You need the game action really to hone yourself there. And that's where, I look at Kaminga's game logs. He's had a lot of big rebounding games. Last year, not as much. The year before that, though, I agree. Yeah, he needs to rebound more. The ankle injury made it hard for him to do it last year. But yeah, overall, he definitely needs to be rebounding more. I'm looking at the numbers, though. He's had good moments. He does had good moments. The ability is there. And, this would probably take a bit of a deeper dive here, but I'd be kind of curious, Dan, again, if there's a correlation between, Kaminga getting more minutes and Kaminga getting more rebounds. Because I do truly believe that if Kaminga had been a starter since day one in this league, he'd be a far better player than the player that we're seeing right now. And that's where, I get Mona's point. I get the frustration there. He has not performed to the expectation that he has, especially on the boards. But again, it's hard for me to completely throw Kaminga under the bus, though, when he hasn't had that runway that most players get. And so if he goes to, let's just say it's the Kings, I'm going to throw an arbitrary team out there. Let's say, he signs qualifying offer. Next year he signs an offer sheet with the Kings for, let's say he signs the Giddey deal, $100 million, $25 per year. And then he is the focal point in that offense, along with Keegan Murray and whatever slop is left in that building. He's probably going to put up better numbers because he'll be the focal point there. He could be a 20 and 10 a night guy over there when he is the 1, 2, or 3 option and not, the first, second, or third guy off the bench. I do believe that truly matters. Now, is he going to be doing it for a team that's in the playoffs? Probably not. I would hope that he goes to a team that, puts him in a better position in that situation there. But that's kind of how I read the lack of development there. He's had a lot of opportunity, yes, but I don't think he's had enough of the opportunity. And I don't think that's more fault to him. I think that's a fault of you joined a team that was in very much win now mode, and that's tough for young players.
Let's get back out to the phone lines. AJ's hanging out in the Southland. Let's go to Los Angeles. AJ, what's on your mind?
What's up, fellas?
What is
I'm
up,
so
AJ?
happy that you're touching. AJ, what's happening? I'm so glad you're touching on the rebounding situation from a guy who actually plays a game. Not in the NBA, but actually played, some D1 ball, been around the block a little bit.
Where'd you play at?
I was looking at his numbers. I played at SLU. So where Yuri Collins is from, he's one of our legends out there. I think we talked about that before. Larry Hughes, all those guys. But here's the thing, man. I was looking at Jonathan Kaminga's numbers and kind of digging into what the agent was referring to in terms of his minutes translate to rebounding. And it makes total sense if you look at Jonathan Kaminga's game overall in his career. Whenever he had run, he performed. His per 36 last year, 23, 7, and 3, which means that when he's on the floor more, obviously he gets rebound. For his career, he's 27 and 3, which means that when he's on the floor, he plays and he gets rebounds. But here's the thing when I look at Jonathan Kaminga's game, in terms of when he's on defense, he's an on-ball defender. He's on the perimeter, okay? How do you suggest a guy – and if you look at the Warriors overall, rarely did we ever see the on-ball point of attack wing defender lead the team in rebounds or had a lot of rebounds because they were always on the ball. Always on the ball. The guys that usually get the most rebounds, well, we saw Kevon Looney have some solid rebound years. And believe it or not, the worst defenders on the Warriors, the worst on-ball defenders on the Warriors, seem to get a lot of rebounds. If you notice, Steph Curry is considered a good rebounder as a guard. He's one of the worst on-ball defenders in the NBA. Potts, he gets a lot of rebounds. One of the worst on-ball defenders I've ever seen, okay? So those guys are always trailing the plays, and they get a lot of rebounds. The guys that's on the ball on the perimeter, they don't get many rebounds. Look at Jimmy Bucket. Look at Andrew Wiggins. We always complain, how come he's not rebounding? How come he's not rebounding? Well, he's always on the ball, okay? So that makes a lot of sense in perspective. Now, in terms of the money, I don't like to dig in any guy's money or talk money. I think it's ignorant for any fan or anyone to talk these guys' money. They're going to get paid regardless. But for me, I believe Jonathan Kaminga, he should go ahead and take that qualifying offer because he's not going to get an opportunity to showcase with the Warriors, and that's what he wants to do. The bottom line is joy. He wants to have fun. He wants to enjoy the game, you know, and he's not going to do that with the Warriors. And then he's going to be the scapegoat. He's going to be the guy that everyone say, oh, he's the reason why there's drama in the locker room. But if we look back historically over maybe the 7 or 8 years of this Warriors franchise, it's been drama every offseason. And it's always been centered around Draymond Green or Steve Kerr. Draymond or Steve. I feel like they're piggybacking on the drama and being the cancerous guys in the locker room. How many guys have left the offseason, and the argument overall was that they are they're frustrated, they're angry, they want to get away from Klay Thompson to Harrison Barnes to Jordan Poole to Kevin Durant to Kevon Looney to Moses Moody was even angry. Jonathan Kaminga now. It's been probably 8 or 9. Jerry West was angry. He wanted to get away.
All right, AJ.
So, you know, at some point,
obviously he knows
we
his stuff.
Stop pushing the blame.
Yeah, good call, AJ.
AJ is spot on and makes a good point in terms of the on-the-ball defense. I would say this, that I don't think it's so much he wants his joy back. I think he just wants a bigger role. He wants the ball in his hands, and it's not going to happen with the Golden State Warriors. No. Mr. D's hanging in San Francisco. Yeah. Let's knock out some of these callers.
Oh, yeah, I'm down.
Mr. D, how are you today?
Hey, guys, that caller just ahead of me was right on. And even to piggyback on him being an on-the-ball defender, how many three-pointers do the Warriors shoot? If you want JK to be a 3 or a 4, then he's not going to get those long rebounds. So how can you expect him to go get them long rebounds? And nobody wants your coach saying, we need you to get rebounds and not shoot, but we need you to get rebounds. And we need you to get the ball, to take care of the ball. Listen, here's the thing. Potts, if I see him dribble around until 4 seconds are left on the shot clock and then throw it out for some kind of – if he does that again, I'm going to lose my mind. This is ridiculous. And so we want to blame JK. JK, he comes in, he delivers, and then as soon as somebody else come back, then they send him back. He gets DMPs. You know, and as far as Mona's concerned, I mean, I understand her frustration, but one thing about Steph Curry, he will work on his game, but then when the season started, he knew he was going to play. JK got DMPs, and so I don't think that's fair. And so now he wants his money. Yes, he wants his money. But I think the qualifying offer is what he's going to do, and he's going to wait till the last minute to do it. Because the only reason they offered him more money is so they could get another player and trade him. And he knows that. So, look, he might as well keep his control. You know, $7 million?
Yeah.
Compared to
I agree with what you're saying there, Mr. D, and I think that's kind of the plan that they're going with here because Jonathan Kaminga clearly does not trust the Warriors. He clearly does not trust Steve Kerr. And once that trust is fractured, it's very, very hard to repair. And, Kaminga, what Kaminga's going through, it's really not all that different than, we go through it here in the real world here, Dan. We all want more for ourselves. We all want to put ourselves in better positions for our career. I'm not trying to just be a producer my entire life. I'm trying to move up in the world too. And, the reason why I'm here with 95.7 The Game, go through all the ups and downs, is this station gives me ample opportunity to grow and expand my career and get better in my field. And, if I wasn't feeling that here, I'd be looking at other places. I think that's what Jonathan Kaminga is in that same boat. And I'm sure that there are listeners out there who are in their own jobs who they feel like, I should have that position, not what's his name, and so you're busting your ass to get a higher position in your job. Or if you don't find it there, if you don't like where you're working at, Dan, us here in the real world, you know what we do? Go into the boss's office like, hey, you know what? This is my 2 weeks. I'm going to go somewhere else. Jonathan Kaminga in professionals, this isn't just Kaminga. All professional athletes, they don't have that luxury. If Draymond Green wants to go somewhere else, he can't just walk into Steve's office like, hey, coach, it's my 2 weeks. And then no, you have a contract. Jonathan Kaminga is simply just wanting to put himself in a position, and rightfully so, to choose his next location. Maybe it is the Warriors. Maybe it's not. It would be the Warriors if he had that faith, and clearly the faith is just not there.
Yeah, a lot of good calls. Really good.
Love
These
them.
guys are all spot on. And I'm with you with Podziemski. It's been an entire offseason, so I have to sort of lather myself and get myself back in the frame of mind.
Getting yourself in the
of
pods
watching
mode.
him playing basketball. And yes, Podziemski puncturing a defense and then kicking to somebody in the corner for a three. Just please stop that. Stop that. But the reason why I highlight Podziemski as it relates to Steve Kerr, and why, if you would ask yourself, well, why does Podziemski leapfrog the Moses Moody's and the Jonathan Kamingas in terms of playing time? Why was he a starter? Why is he a sixth man? It's because, and I'm not saying there's a right or wrong here, but Steve Kerr has confidence in him. Steve Kerr entrusts that Podziemski's going to make the right basketball play. And we're going to get into some 49er talk. It's almost like Kyle Shanahan, who doesn't necessarily need the flash, but he wants somebody like a Mac Jones or a Brock Purdy or a Kirk Cousins that's just going to make the right football play, that maybe can't be Lamar Jackson, that can't give me Josh Allen sort of talent, but it's just somebody that I feel confident in. And I think that's sort of the sticking point when it comes to Steve Kerr and Jonathan Kaminga as it relates to a player like that of a Brandon Podziemski, is that he feels as though there's a sense of security I have when he's on the floor and I'm talking about Podziemski. And while Jonathan Kaminga could give me points and could be this young, fresh guy and get up and down the floor, there are still parts of his game that don't mesh with what it is that I want to do on a higher level as a head coach. The same thing I learned from Phil Jackson going back to Popovich in San Antonio. There's a way we play this game, and Jonathan Kaminga doesn't have that nuance down. And that's where this sort of, it hasn't changed, and they need to fix that. And I think partially Steve Kerr is wrong. In fact, not partially, Steve Kerr, the way he's handled Jonathan Kaminga and pulling him in and out of the starting lineup and giving him run, and then all of a sudden he doesn't play. I thought the postseason was an atrocity. The fact that Jonathan Kaminga did not play in the postseason until he had to because of an injury to Steph Curry, and he was the most dynamic player against Minnesota. That's pie in your face, Steve Kerr. I'm sorry. You should have had this level of contrition. You know what? I was wrong. Maybe he did to a certain degree. But I also understand where Steve Kerr is coming from in terms of the frustration of a player like that of Jonathan Kaminga, who doesn't have some of the nuance like that of a Brandon Podziemski. Will and Marin, Mitch in New Jersey, the rest of the callers, hang in there. We're just getting started here. Just getting our feet wet talking about Jonathan Kaminga and the Golden State Warriors. Sam Love and Dan Avone on a Saturday morning here on 95.7 The Game.
Football is back, and so is your shot at big wins. With DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's the play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, from breakout rookies to elite QBs, and unlock the upside every snap brings. The better your calls, the bigger your payout. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THEGAME. That's code THEGAME. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Fall is the season for reinvention, and it's easy to do at Macy's Fall Favorite Sale. Come in and find your new favorite styles, like romantic ruffled dresses, chic trenches, cashmere sweaters, and textural fall layers, which are perfect for mixing and matching. All for 20 to 50% off. So if you're looking for your new favorite things, look no further than the Fall Favorite Sale. Today, only at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Hey, it's Bonte. Just back from my fall visit to River Islands, where the schools are back in session. There are 3 top-rated K through 8th grade academies within the community, and construction just started on Academy number 4. River Islands High School students are busy in the classroom and on the sports fields of their phenomenal new campus. I don't remember high school ever looking this good. Elsewhere in Northern California's most successful lifestyle community, they're putting the final touches on another park. This one with the playground, workout areas, tennis, a splash pad, and a picnic area. The fall weather is still perfect for launching a kayak or a paddleboard off your own deck and head over to the Boathouse restaurant for lunch or dinner. More than 4,000 households have already made the move to River Islands. Today, with 15 neighborhoods priced from the $600,000 to over $1 million, there's more variety in home styles and sizes than ever before. In fact, the only thing missing at River Islands is you. Start your tour today at riverislands.com. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands?
When back to the office means back in traffic.
2 left lanes are blocked off.
Turn to the traffic leader, KCBS.
And a motorcycle involved here.
Your NorCal Honda dealers have a huge selection of new Accord hybrids. Trade for the best and get a great deal today. Brought to you by your Northern California Honda dealers.
The John Deere Gator XUV lets you cut, pack, drive, scout, weld, stack, feed, pull, load, tow, spray, and haul, all in a single day. Because with the highest cargo box volume in its class, customizable features, and a towing capacity of up to 4,000 pounds, it gets the job done. You just have to get in the seat. Learn more at your John Deere dealer or visit johndeere.com/GatorXUV.
Tulsa is my home now.
Academy Award nominee Sylvester Stallone stars in the Paramount Plus original series, Tulsa King.
This distillery is a very interesting business, and we gotta know the enemy.
From Taylor Sheridan, co-creator of Landman.
What are you saying? I'm a rat! If you think you're gonna take me on, it's gonna be really difficult.
Tulsa King. New season streaming September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Join Lorenzo Neal and Evan Giddings at Laughing Monk Brewing in Sunnyvale every red and gold home game this season for our special live pregame broadcast. Plus, we'll have tailgate games, prizes, great food, and drink specials. For more information, visit 957thegame.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today.
Dial 877-WEB-NOW1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Now back to 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back on a Saturday morning. We're talking about Jonathan Kaminga. Who else dominating the airwaves these days? Jonathan Kaminga, who is still not under contract. Couple of deals on the table. The latest is him and his agent entertaining him playing for the qualifying offer, meaning that he'll play for the $8 million, not sign a contract, leave all that money on the table. And are we done with the intro there, Zach? You're kind of like my dog.
He's doing the pump fake.
You need the attention? Is that it? Do I need to talk more about your golf game?
No.
All right. So, Jonathan Kaminga could play for the qualifying offer at $8 million, which would mean that obviously there's the risk of injury. See Brandon Ayuk. But at the end of this season, and by the way, he took out an insurance policy, but at the end of the season, he could be a free agent and then do whatever the hell it is that he wants to do. And he can also veto any trades throughout the season. That seems to be the latest. I happen to think that the two sides are going to come to some sort of an agreement. I think it's going to be a 2-year deal, and I think either they're going to give him the player option or they're going to front load, meaning they're going to add some more money to the first year of the contract. There was somebody on there who's like, Dan, I hate talking contract. Me too, man. I can't. Some people get into this crap. I can't stand it. All the player option, team option. It's nerd ball to me. I like play damn basketball. We could talk about Jonathan Kaminga as a basketball player. That's where my interest is. But all this, 2 years with an option. I mean, I understand we got to do it. It's relevant, but it bores the crap out of me. Will's hanging out in Marin. Wants to talk about JK. Will from the North Bay. Welcome to 95.7 The Game. What's on your mind?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Go ahead, Will.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So anyway, a while back you guys said, okay, he might go to the Kings and he might go 20-10. That's a problem. I think he's going to go 23-3. And I think that I don't buy into the idea that if you're a good on-ball defender, you're not a good rebounder. I mean, there's too many. Is Dennis Rodman a good on-ball defender? Is Draymond Green a good on-ball defender? I mean, you go through the list. So I don't quite buy that. And I think one thing about Kerr is that he rewards people not out of the stats sheet like Looney, who's also a good on-ball defender and a good rebounder. And so I don't quite buy that. And in addition, I remember Kerr saying a while back that no matter what you did when they had inter-squad games, whichever side Andre Iguodala was on would win. And so think about a guy like that. If Kaminga in the beginning of his career could do the intangible things, you talk about Pods. I can't believe no one mentioned how Pods takes charges, how he sacrifices his body. These are things coaches love. So, and I also think that Kerr didn't mishandle the playoffs. I mean, I think what's so underrated is that we beat the Rockets. The Rockets were really good, really powerful. The Warriors should have lost, and they even had an injury with Butler. And still, so I don't think Kerr mismanaged the roster there. I think it was unfortunate. I love Kaminga. I felt it was sad for him, but I don't think he was mismanaged. And, yeah, he got great stats, but they lost all those games. So I just think if I was managing Kaminga, who I think is incredible talent, I'd say rebound, get some steals, get on the floor. You'll have your chance to score eventually. But I don't think he's proved that he can do it. So I don't buy all that thinking that, great on-ball defenders don't rebound. He doesn't rebound. It's a big problem, for him.
It's a good point, Will, because I think that while I think it was AJ in Los Angeles who obviously knew his hoops and had balled a little bit, I guess, in college.
St. Louis, with Yuri Collins.
Who was in L.A.?
That was AJ in L.A. He said he played at St. Louis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, you got me confused because we had a Ryan from St. Louis who was also a college.
That's right, yeah. He also knew his
But AJ makes a good point. But I think that you can be an on-the-ball defender because the thing you have to keep in mind is that during an offensive possession, you're not always extended on the ball. The ball gets reversed. And I always tell people, just keep an eye on Jonathan Kaminga when the ball goes to the other side. When the ball is not in the hands of the guy that he's guarding.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you learn a lot about a player. When the ball gets reversed, and now I'm just sort of a bystander, I'm watching. Does he put a body on a guy? Is he attacking glass? Is he tenacious? Like some players have that in their DNA.
Effort signs.
And while you're right, he is a good on-the-ball defender, but I think I'm with Will a little bit. It is not just an absolute excuse as to why your numbers are low in terms of rebounding. I get it. On-the-ball defenders means that you're out on the perimeter and you're not in the muck and you're not playing in the paint and you may not get as many loose balls or rebounds. But both can be true. You can be an on-the-ball defender and also give me some rebounds. And by the way, on the offensive end, there's no excuses there. You can snag some boards as well. So for you Jonathan Kaminga fans, and I like the guy, you have to admit it's an area that needs improvement on the ball defense or otherwise.
Again, I agree with you're spitting facts there. Dan, agree with you. And then let's see. Again, the other thing I kind of want to get into, maybe we can go to the calls here in a little bit as well.
Want me to go to a call and you regather your thoughts?
Why don't we do that?
Let's get out to Matt hanging out in Oakland, California. Matt's on the show. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, fellas?
Well.
Okay, excellent. I think the last guy made a ton of sense. Personally, I'm really, really tired of talking about a guy who's not even in the top 100 in the league. I mean, he has potential, but the idea that somehow Steve Kerr has, quote, made mistakes or whatever the hell it was you guys said, it's absurd. That guy's job is to win. He has 9 rings. He knows what he's doing. I mean, he knows more than me, and he knows more than you guys put together. I mean, all of us. I'm not saying I know more than you. But there are a bazillion scorers in the history of NBA and the NBA who didn't amount to anything. I mean, you remember Corey Maggette? Was he really that good? No. He could score. Was he a useful player? No. Kaminga needs to work on his game, and we are talking about him way too much. I think his agent is a clown and did him no favors by coming on yesterday and saying basically, well, I play better. He basically said he plays better when he plays more. I mean, who wants to hear that? I mean, JK, suck it up. You're a young man. Take whatever deal, gets you, make the coach play you. And then, give them something to work with. Give them the opportunity to trade you. You really hate it that much. If he wants to go to the Kings and get that team and be a ball hog, fine. But, I don't know. I am just so tired of it. And I just don't get why we're spending that much time talking about this guy because he's just not that good yet.
No, listen, I hear you, man. It's getting a little ridiculous. And you're right. Steve Kerr knows so much more than me, certainly. Mm-hmm. And I always defer to him. Listen, I come on here, I'll talk basketball. He lives, eats, and breathes, and he knows
more than us. Yeah.
He knows his team intimately better than any of us. The dude has done just about everything in the sport. I would say that in retrospect, if he was to be honest with himself, the way he's handled Jonathan Kaminga at times by not playing him and then playing him and yo-yoing him back and forth, I would think that if he could do it over again, I think he would approach that a little differently.
I would think so.
And I think that there's been mistakes made by not playing him, DMPing him, and then the guy goes for 20 points, for a week straight. I think there has to be more consistency on the part of Steve Kerr. And I think if Steve Kerr, and he is an honest guy, he would say as much.
I agree with that. The thing, actually, you know what? When you say it out loud,
you disagree.
No, it's just this goes into, and I think Turner was asked about that. Maybe we can play the sound here on in terms of just the front office and the coaching staff being on the same page of this. And would Steve Kerr do it differently with Kaminga? Yeah, I do agree. He might do things differently knowing what we know now. But I do think the different thing that Steve Kerr really would want to do is there's a part of me, I think the different thing is he would want to draft someone else other than Kaminga. And this goes to, there was the ask yesterday. Maybe I think we have the sound here. There's the concept of the coaches in the front office being in lockstep on how to use Kaminga. Turner said he didn't think there was that. I think we got the sound if we can play what he said. But
we've heard enough of Aaron Turner. He's kind of boring. But go ahead.
Okay. All right, but still, it was more just to kind of provide context to what I'm going off of here. But, yeah, I do think that there is the Joe Lacob factor. We haven't mentioned him at all this show, and that he's a major player in this. Joe Lacob sees Jonathan Kaminga as the future. He is the biggest supporter in the Jonathan Kaminga camp, whereas Steve Kerr, I think, has just kind of come to this, kind of realization, conclusion, decision, whichever word you want to use here, where he's not as enamored with Kaminga as Joe Lacob is. It's that simple. And you talk about the kind of player that he is, whether he can be that all-ball defender or honestly, I'm kind of curious, with the point I wanted to make before my brain farted out on me is, talking about the shooting component that he brings. And last year you saw at times the jump shot can be, there's a lot to be desired there. He's not a three-point shooter. He's a guy that has to kind of drive he has to drive in more in order to make offense happen. Is that a guy that Steve Kerr really wants to kind of make a focal point of the offense? I don't know. Joe Lacob is the biggest driver of the Jonathan Kaminga being a Warrior right now. And I do kind of wonder, and this is something only Steve Kerr with, a heavy dose of truth serum would answer is, if it weren't for Joe Lacob's support, is Jonathan Kaminga still here? Or if it weren't for Joe Lacob, banging on the table saying, that's my guy, is Steve Kerr playing Jonathan Kaminga as much as he has been playing him? Which, again, we all, I think, can agree has just not been enough. Or maybe it is. I mean, we all can agree. No, we all can't agree on anything. Let me reverse that. Would he be playing him less than he is right now if Joe Lacob was not the supporter? I think that is the case. He would not be playing him as much as he's playing him now, and he's already not playing him as much as Kaminga would want.
Yeah, I think one thing to keep in mind, you pointed out his injury of a year ago, and his agent did this as well. He was playing so well, and he and Steve Kerr on the same page. That's when he had all those consecutive 20
Steph was playing well with them.
And he was shooting at, I want to say, at a 40% clip from three-point territory. Like, it was all working for him, which is why that injury was so untimely. And then while he was injured, they went and they got Butler. And so his role changed drastically. And it's part of the game, right? I mean, injuries, they happen. But it was really unfortunate when he went down because Jonathan Kaminga, Steve Kerr, the Warriors, his role, it all crystallized. And he was becoming that player. And unfortunately, he goes down with the injury. Jan's hanging out in Mountain View, the home of the St. Francis Lancers.
Oh, heck
Hello,
yes.
Jan. How are you?
Well, I want to start back where when Steve Kerr, before Steve Kerr took over, we had Mark Jackson, and he was the one that came in and developed Steph Curry and Draymond Green and whoever else was on the team to help them get themselves, rebounding and getting them where they could, score better and guard and all that stuff. Well, okay, he didn't. He took us to the finals, but we didn't make it. So Lacob goes and fires him and brings on Steve Kerr. And Steve Kerr, being coming from a championship team and having those 9 rings, he was already ready to step in because our team was already developed and was in a win mode. Well, we made it to the championship in 2015, and we made it back in a couple of more years, and everything, was going just great. And then Bob Myers, when they made the trade and they got rid of Wiseman, they ended up, drafting, this, Jonathan Kaminga in the 7th round, and he came from high school. He was coming from the Congo, and he might have played some basketball, but he's not trained like they do if you go to the NCAA or if you go through college and all of that. And he's just been more like on a scoring mode than actually doing more defense. And they've gotten him into doing defense and somewhat, but he's not a clear, crisp player like the the other ones on the team. And I'm thinking, okay, you're in your fifth year. I'm thinking, why can't like Draymond Green take a lesser role and let him play a little longer, maybe a quarter, and then take over or something?
I mean, that's the most sensible question I think you can ask is why can't you, give Draymond a lesser role? Because offensively, Draymond is non-existent except for 5 games a year where he decides to show up and score points. Because we saw, in that playoff series against the Kings, when he came off the bench, it was a revelation there. And Draymond doesn't have to start. He doesn't. He needs to finish, absolutely. But he doesn't necessarily need to be starting games. But the answer to Jan's question there, though, about Draymond is it's because he's Draymond Green. He's going to get announced in the starting lineup. He's going to be the starter. He's going to be the finisher. He is a superstar in this league, and he's going to get that superstar treatment. And you're not going to just scale his role back just for Jonathan Kaminga. That's just the rule of how the NBA works.
Let's get back out to the phone lines. And, Jan apparently is still hanging out in Mountain View. I thought we just had Jan. All right, back out to Mountain View really quick. And Jan, what else is on your mind?
There's another Jan?
Well, one of the reasons why Jonathan Kaminga needs to be in the starting lineup a little bit more is he could take over a game, Dan. He can really score if you give him a chance to score. And I think the reason he needs to be in there is because he is just mesmerizing.
Pasta. My goodness, I thought we don't have time for games.
Sorry.
Well.
Oh heck yes.
Oh heck yes.
I hope Jan comes over here and just puts out her cigarette right on your forehead.
I would not want to be on Jan's back.
Jan has every right now to absolutely despise me.
Well, standing by, there's going to be more al dente because Pasta is about to take over the show. What's
the name of the phone number? What's the phone number, Dan?
All right, Scott's hanging out.
888-957-9570.
Scott's
888-957-9570.
Scott, put us back on track. Pasta's he's too much these days. What's going on, buddy?
Wow. I don't know, man. Hey, there was a caller a couple callers ago that was absolutely right on the money. The problem with Jonathan Kaminga is he's got first of all, that agent with that hour-long disaster he did yesterday. It proves why he's a nobody agent. And I don't know how he got his hooks into Kaminga, but any smart agent would have signed this deal yesterday. And number two, the problem with Kaminga, and let's go back to this on-ball rebound and not being able to rebound because he's on the ball. It's BS. It's about desire, and that's what Pods has is desire. That's why he can rebound from the guard position. It's all about desire. It's not about where you are in the defensive set. It's BS. The other part is Jonathan's problem is his skills. His skills are not – his shooting regressed big time last year. Sure, he can drive to the hole, and then he misses one of every 3 free throws. He shot 45, 30, 66. No superstar Wayne would ever have those kind of numbers, or even a potential star. I mean, it's laughable. His shot is not – he doesn't shoot the ball well enough to be a star. He needs to be – he'd be a nice piece on a surrounded by the exact players he's got on this team right now. But otherwise he can go and like the guy said, go be Corey Maggette, score 25 and lose 50 games a year. You just like I said, there's been millions of guys like that. You could go score a bunch of points, volume score, volume shooter, but it doesn't win anything. And his handle is not up to par. His basketball IQ isn't good enough. I mean, he needs right now in his career at 22. You sign this deal. You're surrounded by people who know how to play basketball, and you do what they tell you to do.
Sounds like there's just a doubt that Kaminga can be a frontline player on a championship team.
Well, yeah, therein lies the rub.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Kaminga believes as though he can be a guy that put the ball in his hands and he can be a number one option.
Yeah.
And so he has that sort of faith. I would say this, a lot of people have been taking shots at the agent, Aaron Turner. I think it was really brave and between you and I think we were talking about this off the air. I didn't find him as the most impressive guy in the room.
No.
But this is something that I think is really, from this point forward, I think that having an agent while you're in the middle of a discussion like that of Jonathan Kaminga, being as candid as he was in discussing the options, I think it's something you're going to see a lot more of going forward. I think it was a little groundbreaking what it is that he's doing in making the tour.
He's trying to control the narrative.
And I think you're going to see a lot more age because it's very much of a copycat league.
Mm-hmm.
And I will give him credit on this sense. That was pretty innovative in the fact that he's using the media. And this happens from time to time, but you don't hear a lot of it when you're in the midst of a contract negotiation that is as heated and as talked about like that of Jonathan Kaminga and the Warriors, where the agent is on the line and is discussing and using the media to get his point across. I bet you're going to see a lot more of that. And I think it was really innovative on his part in terms of what it is that he did. And I think it's going to be sort of the way a lot of agents are going to sit up and take note and like, you know what? That was a solid move.
I mean, it depends on what happens next. If Kaminga gets a deal that works out for him and both sides are okay with, then yeah, I'd say so. But if Kaminga ends up signing a deal that makes him look like, the loser of it, maybe it's done differently. It is a copycat league, but people only copycat things that are successful. And, to the caller's point about how, you take that deal. Again, it comes down to that it really is about that option in that last year. It's about the control there. And that's why it goes beyond, just take a good financial deal. I think it was telling it at one point, Aaron brought up that the reporting that there was a 5-year, $150 million deal on the table, that was never true. He brought, I think it was on this station, Ethan Sherwood-Strauss brought that up. And Kaminga got a lot of flack for that. Kaminga's agent got a lot of flack for that. And now he's saying that it's not true. Now, maybe the Warriors come out, this week and be like, actually, yeah, we did throw that offer at them. What Aaron Turner said is untrue. Let's cross that bridge before we react to that news, because that would be an absolute just drama bomb to drop on this conversation. But yeah, the crushing of the agent. Listen, the agent's doing what the player wants, and what Jonathan Kaminga wants, in my estimation, is just simply not be here. So that's what Aaron Turner's trying to do. He's trying to facilitate an exit for Jonathan Kaminga that Kaminga will be okay with.
Who do you think has more Pasta and Sam? Kyle Shanahan in his post game, or any of his press conferences, or Jan from Mountain View? What's the over and under? We used to do this. Were you part of that, Sam, in the late show? We used to do the over and under on Kyle Shanahan's us.
I did not. I was not a part of those.
Yeah, it was. We were pushing the edge of the envelope there. But I'm just curious.
A lot of us.
I've cut all the Shanahan. I've cut him for a while now. I'm cutting him every Sunday now.
I want to hear your Shanahan impersonation.
Possibly. Brock played well today. I don't worry about special teams.
Yeah, I'm giving you a -3 for Shanahan.
Yeah, not too good. But I would say it's definitely Shanahan.
The key to the Shanahan impersonation is you have to sound like you just ate $20 worth of Taco Bell. Yeah, Brock, he was really good today, and I thought he made some really good passes. The offensive line, the protection, it probably could have been a little better. But, sometimes, Brock, when he makes these throws, you really want him to make these kind of throws and be able to connect with his receivers there. And I thought Brock did, a really good job on that.
All right, so speaking of impersonations, Mitch, do not go anywhere. We've been saving the best for last. Mitch in New Jersey is standing by. We might hear from him more than once. I'm not exactly sure. We want to talk about Jonathan Kaminga, and time permitting, anybody into the 49ers in Arizona, and Kyler Murray, want to talk about the toddler, Kyler Murray and the 49ers, and Mac Jones, and what's going on with Brock Purdy. Will he really not play? We'll talk a little bit about that, as well as wrap things up with Jonathan Kaminga. It's Mitch from New Jersey next here on 95.7 The Game.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. I know finding a dream engagement ring can be overwhelming, but don't worry, we got you. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond at Shane Company is truly the best of the best. Our team travels the world to see diamonds up close, in person. We handpick each one for its unique fire, brilliance, and scintillation. Diamond buying is an art, Of course, we look at cut, color, clarity, and carat, known as the 4 C's, but that's not all. We also look at how each diamond looks on a hand, where it will be worn, how it makes you feel, and if it's worthy of a Shane Company customer. That type of expertise only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. We also think about your budget. We only pick the best in each grade in all shapes and sizes. Your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company.
Coffee maker? That one's still on you, which means you'll save hundreds for your business and get the fastest mobile service with 5G cellular and Wi-Fi hotspots on us. But hurry, this deal won't last long. Get a mobile plan and free up the budget to maybe, I don't know, fix that coffee maker? Get mobile on us for 1 year, you guessed it, on us. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 10/21/25. Restrictions apply. New mobile customers only with internet standard service or above. Limited to value of 1 unlimited intra-line applied via 12 monthly internet bill credits. 1 discount per account. Fastest mobile based on mobile Wi-Fi and cellular data and service series. Ookla Speed Test Intelligence Q1 to Q2 2025.
Hey, it's Joe Shasky here for Ceremony Ford, and let me keep it real with you. If you've been thinking about making the switch to an electric ride, now is the time to pull the trigger because Ceremony Ford in Colma is ending the summer with some heat. So check this out. Slide into a brand new 2025 Mustang Mach-E for just $225 a month on a lease. That's right, $225 a month for 36 months. Or if you're ready to buy, lock in 0% APR financing for 72 months and grab a $2,000 rebate. Who else is giving you that? Only Ford. But here's the kicker. The federal EV tax credits on Mach-E and the F-150 Lightning are about to expire September 30th. You wait, you lose. Don't let Uncle Sam keep your money. Ceremony Ford has one of the biggest inventories in Northern California, and they're ready to hook you up. Find them right off at 280 in Colma or online 24/7 at ceremonyford.com. That's Ceremony Ford, the Bay Area's Mach-E superstore. Tell them Butcher sent you.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime, from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, Ace's Garage Door Repair and Installation has smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video, streaming and battery backup to let you in when the power is out. Trust Ace's Garage Door Repair and Installation for top-notch service and unbeatable reliability. Whether you need a quick fix, a complete replacement, or a brand new installation for your garage door or garage door opener, our skilled technicians are here to get the job done right. With competitive prices, a commitment to quality, and Diamond certification, Aces has you covered. Call today at 855-588-2237 or visit acegd.com. That's acegd.com. Aces Garage Door Repair and Installation, where your garage door is our priority.
Game day just got an upgrade. Whether you're gearing up or winding down, Westfield Valley Fair is your go-to spot. Hit the latest gear at Shoe Palace. Grab bold bites at Shake Shack and Eataly. And catch the action on big screens at King's Fish House. From premium shopping to epic eats and entertainment, make every football Sunday legendary. Westfield Valley Fair, where football fans fuel up in style.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Another teenager, victim to fake pills bought from social media. This doesn't seem like a drug deal, but it definitely is. Should buying prescription pills be that easy? Many fake pills contain fentanyl, and an amount small enough to fit on the tip of a pencil can be lethal. So listen, before buying pills from social media, think again. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org and go for real. Brought to you by USPTO and the National Crime Prevention Council.
Your cold is coming. Your cold is coming. When you feel a cold coming, shorten it with Zycam, the #1 cold shortening brand.
Oh no, not before my big trip.
The big trip you've been planning is coming up, and so is your cold, but Zicam can shorten your cold and get you back to planning sooner.
Thanks, Revere.
We really should keep Zicam in the house.
Shorten your cold with Zicam.
Take it from America's most revered messenger. Shorten your cold at the first sign with cold shortening products from Zicam, the #1 cold shortening brand. Available in stores or see where to buy at Zicam.com.
Now back to 95.7 The Game.
All right, well, welcome back as we wrap up the show last half hour. I want to get into the 49ers and talk about San Francisco and the Arizona Cardinals, the big matchup between the two 2-0 football teams, as the Niners will play their home opener after winning on the road impressively against, obviously, Seattle, and then, of course, last week against the New Orleans Saints. Both games coming right down to the nub.
The last few Niner teams start 2-0 on the road. There was I believe the 2023 Niner team, the 2021 Niners team, the 2019 Niners team, and I believe the 88 and 89 Niners team started 2-0 on the road. And you know what all those teams have in common, Dan?
What is that?
They all went to, at minimum, the NFC title game.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go. Niners the NFC title game confirmed, obviously. And will Mac Jones be the one that leads them there?
Well, we'll get into all of that, but before we do that, let's just clean things up with the Jonathan Kaminga talk for today, at least. New Jersey, the location. Mitch, the first name. Hello, Mitch.
Hey, Sam, Dan, how you guys doing?
What's going on, Mitch?
You have to get something for him. I mean, these were both lottery picks, and most including Moody. Yep. And for 4 years now, and he's still not a complete starter. If you're making a start, then you got to get rid of Draymond Green. I mean, he's getting up there. And Butler, I don't think Butler was any better than Klay Thompson. They should have kept Klay Thompson if they were going to go string themselves with Jim Butler. I mean, he's a great player, but I think Klay Thompson all around is a better player. And with the 49ers, let's let Mac Jones play. But Purge the guy. Mac Jones, I think he's a career backup.
I agree.
I'm going to see Bosa chasing Murray. It's going to be a good game.
Hey, Mitch, before you leave us, can you just give us a quick Bo Bichette shout-out?
Oh, Bo Bichette. He might get the batting average, but Bo Bichette, you'll see him in the playoffs. And, of course, my boy Josh Naylor. Can't believe how the dog days of August came September for the Giants.
Mitch in New Jersey, thank you so much. Appreciate it from Mitch as we get into
welcome.
49er talk. Oh, hold on. Apparently we didn't hang up. Back out to Jersey. Mitch, do we not? Is there something more on your mind?
Josh Naylor is just a really good player. And the 49ers, I think as you pivot to 49ers talk, Kyle Shanahan, just a good coach, good play caller.
Play caller.
Good play caller.
All right,
I love the good play cooler.
Pasta going al dente, doing a little Mitch for us. Thank you very much.
I like
I'm
al
telling you,
dente.
both Mitch and Jan are going to come in here and just absolutely headbutt.
Rizzle's just making enemies left and right. With
I
our
said that
callers.
Mitch should start a podcast, and he should just call it Mitch in New Jersey.
All right, let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. The big question is, will Brock Purdy and the turf toe, will he play? Will he start? It seems as though Mac Jones is going to be your starter once again for the second consecutive week as the Niners take on an undefeated Arizona team.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be the path too. Again, the fact that Brock's looking better this week is good. We had Jennifer Lee Chan join us on the Morning Roast on Thursday morning, and she was talking about how he's walking through some of the plays, but on the rollout plays he wasn't going full speed on the rollout plays against air. So the toe isn't quite there yet. But it's looking like maybe next week against Jacksonville. Could that be a potential spot too? I'm kind of in the camp where I'd rather be safe than sorry with this. And Mac Jones has made it very easy to be, safe rather than sorry on this one. If Brock is not back until that LA game against the Rams on Thursday night, I'm totally okay with that. Like, I don't want to rush him back for the Jacksonville game and then give him a 3-day turnaround for that Rams game down in LA. No, not a big fan of that one, especially when we know how much turf toe can linger. for the rest of a season or even a career. So, and this is a guy that you have $250 million invested in. This is your franchise quarterback. You cannot afford to screw around with this one. You need him back on the field, but you can't do what Kyle Shanahan's done in the past, which is make an injury worse.
Yeah, and turf toe may sound as though he stubbed his toe while playing in the street. Like, it sounds very mild. The turf toe injury, see Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
There are different levels and severities of the injury. Joe Burrow was out basically until after Christmas, and there goes the Cincinnati Bengals season. Although some people believe, shout out to the University of Washington, Jake Browning can be a competent backup. So the turf toe is, it's ligament damage is a better way to describe it.
And that's what kind of throws me off too, is just every other injury that's ligament based. It's, it's an MCL sprain, it's an AC joint sprain, it's a this sprain, a that sprain. But when it's a toe sprain, it's turf toe, which is, I don't know, that throws me off.
I think they need to rename that and high ankle sprain. We always think of, you sprained your ankle, get back out there. High ankle sprain is also ligament damage.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's what Jonathan Kaminga had.
Nobody comes back from a high ankle sprain less than a month. So, yeah, I would err on the side of caution. It's a long season. And Mac Jones is obviously a quality backup. The game I want to play is, where would this team be? Because I don't know where you are in terms of there seems to be two series of thought here. Do you think that it was Kyle Shanahan? It makes sense. Coveted Mac Jones and wanted Mac Jones in that 2021 draft and wanted him at number 3 and not Trey Lance, but there was a gun to his head because John Lynch was in on Trey Lance. It would make sense if you know anything about Kyle Shanahan that, he likes those sort of quarterbacks that are cerebral. He likes the Kirk Cousins of the world. It didn't make – it was sort of unusual that Trey Lance, really? That's the guy that you want, that you're moving up this high, the biggest trade in the history of the 49ers on draft day, and you're going that high to get Trey Lance? I'm just curious if it was Mac Jones that they drafted 5 years ago now, where would the 49ers be? Would they have won a Super Bowl?
No.
Would Brock Purdy be Brock Purdy? Where are the 49ers today?
I think there's no Brock Purdy. I think Mac Jones would have had this team on a lot of very exciting 10-win seasons. But no, where Brock has separated himself from Mac is that Brock has a master of Kyle Shanahan's offense in a way that no other quarterback's been able to. Also, Brock is able to extend plays and make plays with his legs. And that has been an invaluable asset for this 49ers offense. Mac can't do either of those things. I think Mac is very good at, Kyle Shanahan's going to say, hey, on this play, this guy's going to be here at this time, throw it to him there. And now Mac's like, okay, good. Whereas Brock, I think, is more cerebral in that Brock knows the coverages. Brock can see the offense develop. He can see the play develop better than Mac Jones can. And that's where Brock separates himself. Every quarterback in the NFL can throw the ball well. But it's the quarterbacks that have, and I've always said, Brock's greatest assets are between his ears. And I think that does enhance the rest of Brock's game. When Brock, when he struggles, it's the moments where he's trying to do too much. And when Brock limits that, he's great. I think Mac is just very good at going out and executing a playbook. And Daniel, I would call him Mac Jones this week, he's quarterback tofu. Tofu, it absorbs the flavor around it, and that's what it tastes like. Mac was incredible at Alabama. Why? Because he's playing with a bunch of 4- and 5-star recruits every year. Mac had a very good first year in the league. That's because he had a very good defense around him, and he had some solid playmakers that were just playing with Tom Brady a couple of years ago around him. He had a very mediocre run in years 2, 3, and 4. Why? He had very mediocre teams around him. Now he is...
Well, he lost his guy McDaniels, went to the Raiders.
Well, yeah, again, it's the situation around Mac Jones matters. He had a great coordinator in Daniels, gets traded in for Matt. I'm going to carry a pencil and a laminated card, Patricia, who is a defensive coordinator, not qualified for that job. And you saw Mac Jones suffer. He's on a dumpster fire of a team in Jacksonville last year where he's expected to be the backup. And, the record wasn't great, but there were some good performances there. Brian Thomas Jr. excelled having Mac Jones throw him the ball. Mac Jones isn't a bad quarterback. All right, let's get this one. He's not a terrible quarterback. He's not a booty quarterback. Is he good enough to be a starter in this league? I think he's good enough to be a starter on a non-playoff team. But I don't think he's a playoff caliber starter quarterback. He is what you want every backup quarterback to do. However many games that you're starting, win half of them. That is what you ask of a backup, and he can do that. And that's all that matters.
He's perfect as a backup for the 49ers. But if you're Brock Purdy, you want to come back and play, obviously, because it's just your instinct as an athlete, especially a guy that just got paid. That's your team. They're out there. You want to go play. It's all part of his makeup. He's the son of a coach, of a football coach, so it's playing is part of it in his DNA. I also think that he wants to play because he wants to cut this off at the knees. If Mac Jones continues to string together some good football games, we know how fans are. And whether we like it or not, and I'm with you, the ceiling is much higher when it comes to comparing the two. Mm-hmm. It's much higher for one Brock Purdy than it is for Mac Jones. But you know where this is going to go if he plays well against Arizona. And if he gets an opportunity to play against Jacksonville, and I think you could play well against Jacksonville if you were the starting quarterback for the 49ers. So it's laid out there. But I think a part of Brock Purdy's like, yeah, I want to come back because I'm a football player. The other part of it is, and he'll never admit this, is that, the last thing I need to deal with is this guy looking over my shoulder. And every quarterback's like that. That's just sort of, I think the NFL has created this monster that you're as good as your last game for a lot of these guys. And there's a sense of insecurity for everybody. Look at Ben Barch. Ben Barch went out with an injury. He may never get his starting job back.
Yeah. Well, that's because also I think Connor Colby is just a better left guard than Ben Barch. I don't think Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy.
No, I get it. But totally, to your point, we're on the same page. You know what I'm saying now. You know where the fan base could go if he's good in his next outing against Arizona.
Yeah, we'll see how he looks tomorrow against a pretty decent Cardinals team. Mac, he got out to a rough start in New Orleans last week. And honestly, I think the Niners could have played a lot better against New Orleans. It was the first time that New Orleans has broken the 20-point barrier since last October. And there were 3 or 4 drops that the Saints had on last Sunday that if they catch those passes, we're talking about a completely different ball game. They threw the ball a lot. I don't know if that's because Kyle Shanahan just wanted to throw the ball a lot. I don't know if that's because the Saints secondary is a weak spot, and so Kyle Shanahan wanted to exploit that. Mac looked really good against a team that's tanking for a top 5 pick. Now it's a divisional game at home against a team that, came in here last year and took your lunch money. And that hot October day last year, Dan, at Levi's, that's when the season really started to spiral out of control. So you cannot take this Cardinals team lightly. If Mac does perform well against the Cardinals, I don't think Brock should be looking over his shoulder. All right, he has 250 million reasons not to look over his shoulder.
No, it's not looking. I'll let you continue, but it's not looking over your shoulder. It's the reason why you want to cut this off is that last year Brock Purdy makes some mistakes, throws a couple of interceptions, strings together a couple of bad games. Nobody's calling for Josh Johnson or Brandon Allen.
No.
But now if you make a mistake, there is going to be some recourse that wasn't there a year ago.
And I just think that that's not necessary. Just because a backup quarterback has one good game doesn't mean that we have to start calling for the starter's job the minute things get shaky. Let's also let this play out for more than one game too. What if Mac goes out and just has a bad day tomorrow? Are we coming in on Monday and saying that Mac is the worst thing that ever happened to the world ever? Are we coming in on Monday and he's Mac Moody at that point? Where he's the quarterback version of Jake Moody. That's where I'm going on that one.
Oh, I went Moses Moody because I was in Jonathan Kaminga mode.
I know we got to get the Kaminga stuff out of it. It's the old Kaminga crisis. There, I'm not going to play it for you. Kaminga crisis. Yeah, that was my voice, by the way, doing that. I don't know if you
So you put this in the production lab.
It might be the greatest thing I've ever recorded and put on a board here at 95.7. I have the Mac Madness one if you want to hear that one.
I don't, go ahead.
It's not as good.
If you worked on this, go ahead.
Let me see if I can find it. Oh, Carter took it off our board. Probably because it wasn't that good. Nope, I don't have it. In the back, Crack Staff in the back, if you want to just go in the search, Mac Madness. and bring it up, and then just play it out of nowhere. Don't give us a warning.
Did you say crack staff?
The crack staff in the back, yeah.
Fair enough.
Is that what you guys are called?
I guess
it's supposed to be a different word.
Speaking of this,
how about this? You want the Mac staff in the back? Since you guys are the backups,
it's more respectful. Thank you very much.
Speaking of staff and producers and all-time greats here at 95.7 The Game, at least in my short tenure, I just heard from a legend in Craig.
Craig Mack. Speaking of Max.
So Craig was the guy that put together the over and under on the Kyle Shanahan.
Really? I miss Craig.
His open for that thing, I don't know where it is, man. It should be.
Oh, if it was at the old building, we don't have it anymore.
And we did this thing, and people would call in, and they would bet. They think, I'm going with 15. I think he's going over. So Craig would set the line at like 12, and people would call in, and they would bet either over and under in terms of the Kyle Shanahans. And I work with some people, like some co-hosts who just ethically didn't feel good about it. I'm like, come on, man.
That's fun.
It's 10 o'clock at night. Who the hell's listening, man?
You know, if you really want to play
where the hell are you?
If you want to play the us and ums game, Steve Kerr can give Kyle Shanahan a run from his back.
Shanahan.
Steve Kerr, it's Coach, which Steve from Kaminga tonight? JK, when he's out there, he's good out there. We really like what he could bring to the table. Sometimes
I think his are a little bit more drawn out. Kyle Shanahan is just rapid fire.
Yeah, his is more. Yeah, Brock. He's going out there. He's going to play the best he can. Kerr, though, it's more of like a thinking man's. Like Steph when he's out there. He's really good at shooting the three, and that's what we really like about him. Draymond when he's on defense, he puts a lot of thought into what he does out there.
I remember they used to talk about this, and I think it was Hank Greenwald or somebody had mentioned this. You'd appreciate this, Posse, getting back into Giants lore, but you guys all remember Jack Clark, obviously?
Of course. I mean, before my time, but I'm aware of them.
So apparently he was a big guy, and I remember there was sort of like, that was something that people were paying attention to way back in the day. Jack Clark's, Jack the Ripper Clark. By the way, since we're getting into some miscellaneous stuff, I mentioned this to Sam, and I do want to get back into the 49ers. But do you guys, Caddy Zach, are you watching, do you guys stream any shows? Because there's something out there that has just captivated me, and this doesn't happen very frequently. But Black Rabbit, holy Roll Pasta giving feedback. Are you watching?
I have not watched yet, but I put it on my list. It looks really good. It looks really good.
Jude Law and Jason Bateman. I mean, yeah, no, it's New York City based, New York City restaurant owner. I'm all in, man. And I mean,
are you as all in as Kyle Shanahan is on the Mac
that's
Madness?
A hell of a segue.
Oh, here, pot up hotkey 3 again, guys. Zach, let's pot up hotkey 3 so I can play this.
Zach's combing his hair. Don't bother him.
Right.
Zach's thinking about the shot that he.
I'm trying to play. I was going to play this Mac Madness thing that I made, but I got my hotkey not working. Do we have hotkey 3 up now, Zach?
Zach pushed an 8-foot putt. Leave him alone. He's got to think about it.
All right.
Mac Madness.
There it is, yeah. Gotta get the Imperial March in there.
It's got USC overtones there. I felt like the USC marching band was.
I'm never gonna get anything as good as Kaminga Crisis. But
speaking of USC, and just to get us back on track with backup quarterbacks in the San Francisco 49ers. So Mark Sanchez, former quarterback out of USC.
Mm-hmm. He's on the call, isn't he?
That he does. Is he doing the? He might be.
I think him and Adam Amin.
Yeah, he's good. Actually, and I'm overly critical, and I didn't like him initially. He's actually really good, and he's actually really good in studio in terms of his X's and O's and breaking things down. And one of the things that he said I thought was really poignant this past week when somebody asked him, what is it about Kyle Shanahan's system, and why is it that someone like Mac Jones just played his best professional football game, essentially, on the road for the 49ers against the New Orleans Saints? What is it about the Kyle Shanahan system that guys like this are able to excel? And he said, think of Kyle Shanahan as like GPS. Kyle Shanahan is just essentially telling you, if you listen to me, you will do well. Like, take the right lane, get in the middle lane, take this exit. If you just listen to him, he's going to GPS you to a victory.
Yeah.
And he's also going to get you paid. Now, there's going to be times where you have to sort of improvise. As he said, you pull off and get gas, but essentially he's your GPS. He's just going to tell you where to go with the football. And if you listen to him, you will do well. And I think that that's sort of been, why Brock Purdy's been able to excel, is that Kyle Shanahan just needs a guy who can go through a progression and is accurate with the football. And I think that it's a winning formula for the 49ers. And as a result, you personally as a quarterback will do well in this league, both financially as well as, wins and losses.
Yeah, I mean, that is why Kyle Shanahan.
I got to say this about Sam. When it's baseball, I
was going to respond. I respond because that's exactly, I like, because that is exactly why Mac Jones does well. I think I said that at the beginning of the segment. Kyle Shanahan's very good at saying, the guy's going to be here at this time, throw the ball here. That's where that is why Mac Jones is able to succeed with Kyle Shanahan, because he is basically the quarterbacks that do succeed with Kyle Shanahan. Jimmy Garoppolo, it worked for a while because Jimmy could put the ball where Kyle needed it to go. And then it didn't work, and that's why things fell off with Jimmy.
He'd make those Jimmy throws.
Yeah, the Jimmy no throws. And that's why Mac is perfect. Mac needs the GPS that is Kyle Shanahan, whereas Brock Purdy, I think he's able to kind of just do this offense on his own a little bit. When you went to me, I was looking up some numbers I have on Brock and Mac that I have stored deep in my computer.
So that was on
there.
me. I should. Well, read, I need to read your eyes. And if you're looking at the board, I should not go.
I know. I was going to pull up some.
A linebacker reads the quarterback's eyes.
Exactly. No, I was pulling up some facts and stats that I thought would kind of help, because you were talking about the accuracy component there. And I had some numbers here that kind of talk about their accuracy. I want to cite those numbers properly, so I was trying to beat the buzzer there, and then you stopped talking and threw to me. And it's like, I don't have my facts are ready to go. So, no, it's not like last segment, but that is kind of, I think, why Mac Jones works, is that he is a good Kyle Shanahan quarterback, whereas Brock, I think, is a much better Kyle Shanahan quarterback. And that is why, listen, a backup quarterback doing his job does not mean that the starting quarterback needs to worry about his job. Again, as I said, he has 250 million reasons, Brock Purdy, to not worry about losing his job. Because, seriously, game this out, Dan. Let's say Brock, the turf toe isn't ready until they go to the Bucs on October 12th. And Mac wins, and the Niners are undefeated going into that game, and he orchestrates an incredible comeback against the Rams. Let's say that Nadeau's like, then maybe we do need to move off Brock. First off, that's ridiculous. Second off, what's that even look like? You have you just gonna eat all that dead money? You got a Niners team that already has more dead money than the rest of the league combined, it seems like. So just gonna throw another just a chunk of dead money on top of that. It's just the idea of moving off Brock Purdy for Mac Jones. It makes no sense in a football sense. It doesn't make sense in a roster building or contract status standpoint.
Yeah, but it's fun.
I mean, yeah, it's fun, but so is, whitewater rafting until you crash into a rock and splatter your face everywhere. I get we like to have fun with these conversations, but it's nonsense.
No, it's not.
It's not.
But it's fans.
I took too many calls from people this week who are like, I think we got to go with Mac over Brock. It's like, what are we doing? And this is where I get angry as we're 4 seconds away from ending the show. It comes down to this. After that Super Bowl in Allegiant Stadium, if you're thinking, man, I just don't know if Brock Purdy's good enough to win a Super Bowl, I will listen to that argument. I will listen to the Brock Purdy might not be good enough to win a Super Bowl for the 49ers. What I will not listen to is the argument that goes, I don't think Brock's the guy, but you know who is? Sam Darnold. I don't think Brock's the guy who's going to win a Super Bowl for this team. But you know who is? Mac Jones. I'm sorry, that's where you lose me. That's where this whole thing just gets completely stupid and nonsensical.
Sam, repeat after me. I am powerful, I am capable, and I am worthy.
And I am not sitting here and saying that Mac Jones should be the starter for the 49ers.
Let the rage go, my man.
You're enough.
Let the hate flow through you.
Really quick, Pasta, will you tease the shows tomorrow? We got Lowe and Ev tomorrow, beginning at what time of the pregame show?
Yeah, the pregame show starts at 10 from the Laughing Monk Brewery down there in Sunnyvale. There's going to be some food, some drinks, and then I believe there's going to be a shuttle to Levi's Stadium. I think tickets are limited, so go claim your spot now. But the pregame show with Lo Neal and Evan starts at 10. So,
and then the postgame show?
The postgame show, right when it's over, usually Grandy and Sterling Bennett, Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett are on the air immediately after the game. So go check us out then.
And you'll be here for all of it.
I will be there for all of it.
All right. For my man Pasta, Caddy, Zach, and of course Sam Lubman, this is Dan Avone. Until next week, saying so long, everybody.
I knew that I was not living the life that I wanted to live, but I didn't know how to get back on track. It gave me the time and space to take life one step at a time. I have a life